the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, viruses run amok, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the RSV to my H1N1, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Did you come up with RSV just because we were just talking about it?
Potentially.
Sounds gross.
Indeed,
It does sound
is.
gross. It sounds like something you need antibiotics for.
Yes, and I hear another voice. Somebody else is joining us this week.
Hi, friends.
Is this Russian hackers? Are they jumping into our stream?
Yeah, it must be. They've gotten into our stream. But seriously,
No.
joining us this week, very special guest, our fantasy football champion, our social media director.
All hail.
Yes, all hail the champ. Our social media director, the Red 5 liaison, Lunar Girl.
Hi,
What's going
friends.
on?
Not too much. How are you guys? I'm finally here.
You made it.
I'm home.
Yeah, I'm not doing the greatest. I've been feeling a little sick since last night, but we're pressing on.
Yep.
And Dave, what are we talking about this week?
Well, since Jason's not feeling well, we pushed to the remote so that way I can remain relatively healthy.
Mhm.
And I think we're doing. What are we doing? It's a music one, right?
It's music.
It's you know what? It's the music of 1993.
Yes.
1993.
Another epic year, guys.
93.
Oh my God. So when we do the music of 94, we're just going to be like
94.
94.
I have to have that drop ready.
Yes, exactly. So I need to
Do it.
So
Do it.
So we're gonna have that and you're just gonna hear it over and over again throughout that episode. 94.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna get into that. But before we do, we have a ton of business to get to in the meantime. First, gotta start with our Patreon. Read if I'll get it up here. Yes. Okay.
That's what she said.
Indeed it is. If you're enjoying the Sidebar Cantina's content, consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. For as little as $1 a month, you can support this podcast and help make it possible for us to continue to bring you quality content week after week. We'd like to give a huge shout out to our current patrons, Shotgun Mark, Frank Kolovic, which he still hasn't said if that's the right way to pronounce it. Frederick Martin.
Definitely not. It's definitely not the right way to pronounce it.
I'm
but
trying,
that's okay.
goddammit. Frederick Martin, Lord Helmet Fire, Scott and Kim from the Use and Abuse podcast, Ivo G, Kristen Roscom, Nick from Swede Studios, Catherine Rennick, my wonderful mother-in-law, Patricia Goodstein, Don Solsky, Nick Schaefer, David Schmuck, General Chinobi, Wally Frogmore, Tony Ferrari, and our latest patron, Brady Big Lovin'. So, we appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. Our Patreon page is a great place to show us your opinions regarding show topics and the direction of the podcast in general. Last week, our patrons were busy voting that the Sidebar Cantina should focus on a specific band or artist in an upcoming episode and letting us know that it was past time for me, Mr. Roscom, to shave my head. As you can see, I have listened, and this week I am claiming my title as the sexiest man in the room.
Mr. Clean.
Especially since he's in the room by himself.
Hey, that's irrelevant to this conversation. Speaking of polls, you can head over to our Patreon page right now and check out our latest poll. If you have a favorite band or artist you would like us to discuss, now is the time to speak up. We will dedicate an entire episode to the winner of this poll, so let's hear your submissions. Again, you can find us at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this. Old habits.
Nobody's over there.
I know. It's
the best part is he'll have to remember to move the camera back over when we record next week.
Right. So yeah, thanks again to all of our patrons. And this is normally where Dave does the Red 5 read, but I think since Miss Lunar Girl is everywhere when it comes to Red 5, she knows a hell of a lot more about it than we do.
Yeah, she's a subject matter expert, and she would be the one who would type out the notes. So
yeah,
who better to give us the Red 5 news?
Yes,
Fucking
and
right.
I've got your Red 5 Network top headlines for today.
All right, let's hear it.
I would like to announce the return of 97 Bravo's The Convergence podcast. He came back after a 6-month hiatus. Yesterday, he had his first episode. He live streamed with all three of the Escape Pod brothers. DB, Brady, and Dawn. And they did a really great 2-hour stream just talking about podcasting, how the boys formed, where they hope to go. It was really great. He's also doing another podcast tonight. We'll probably have to catch that on the replay. His live stream will start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Dave, I'm sorry I didn't translate that into military time in my head, but he's going to have on Michelle with 2 L's from Force of Light Entertainment. So catch that later on, and welcome back 97 Bravo.
So you said Michelle with 2 L's.
Mhm.
What's more common, Michelle with 2 L's or 1 L?
Honestly, I thought it was 2 L's, but that's the name she goes by. She is Michelle with 2 L's, and her sister is Natalie the Red.
So I bring this up because I happen to know, like, the only, like, my wife's friend Michelle she spells it with 1 L, and that was like the only Michelle I ever knew that spelled Michelle with 1 L. Then later on in life, she works with a Michelle that also spells it with 1 L.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that's so, to me, that seems like the anomaly. But then when you say it, I'm like, is the 2 L's the anomaly? Like, now I'm wondering, like,
so, but is it like, does it end in ELE or is it just EL, like Michelle, like MICHEL, like
ELE?
Okay, yeah.
With 2 L's, it's ELLE, like the French L, as opposed to.
Yeah, every Michelle I've ever known, or every time I've seen the name written, it's always been 2 L's. I've never seen it with 1 L.
Right. But yeah, no, I know two Michelles that have 1 L, and it's just, it's just that one occurrence is like, yeah, that's unique. And then you hear about it twice. It's like, Then you hear somebody that specifies that they have 2 L's. I'm like, maybe it's more the other direction. Anyway.
It's probably just like Kelly with the IE. I mean, like, finding another Kelly with the IE is rare.
Look, my daughter's name is Kate. We legitimately thought when we named our daughter Kate, like our spelling of Caitlin, KATELYN. We're like, this is going to be a unique spelling. And no, there's a lot of Caitlins out there. This is going to be a unique spelling. She was like 6 years old on this soccer team. Legitimately, there was 5 Caitlins on that soccer team, and they all spelled Caitlin a different way.
Right.
5 Caitlins on the same fucking soccer team. We're like, this was a huge mistake.
That was the 90s, though. I mean, we all wanted to spell our kids' names differently. I had Cassandra with a K. It's like no one is going to spell it with a K. And now that she's older, I see so many Cassandras with K's.
So we were with the uniqueness of our daughter was like, all right, well, her middle name is Summer, right? So like, if she really wanted to, she could always revert and use her middle name for stuff.
That is true.
She wanted to assume a different identity. I mean, that would be very unique. So anyway, the sidebar of sidebarring.
Indeed. So was that all you have for this Red 5 read, Kelly? Or...
All I have for right now for top news headlines. More to come after this show.
And just to remind us, how many podcasts are there in the Red 5 network now?
There are now 37.
I'm 37.
All right, had to get that out there. So we got a little bit of Star Wars news. Obviously, we started off as a Star Wars podcast. We still talk Star Wars news every now and again. We got a couple little tidbits in the last week that I wanted to bring up before we got into the rest of the show. First of all, big announcement. Ewan McGregor created, or Lucasfilm created this YouTube channel or YouTube video. With Ewan McGregor to announce that Obi-Wan was slipping 2 days from May 25th to the 27th. We all knew why it was landing on the 25th to fall on the anniversary of Star Wars. Right. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, there's this massive presentation. Ewan McGregor telling us, hey, it's slipping 2 days, but you get 2 episodes on the debut. So very weird news, and I'm kind of curious as to why.
But who better to break it? Like, okay, look, they're going to be pissed, right? They're not going to understand why. Let's just have Ewan McGregor give them the news, and that'll help soften the blow. They'll be like, all right, well, at least it's Obi-Wan giving us the news.
Yeah.
Still.
we won't question it. We won't be standing there with our pitchforks and burning sticks trying to break down the door.
Yeah, a
What
coworker.
could they possibly be doing for 2 days? I mean,
I've heard 2 rumors about that.
Well, what did you hear, Kelly? Because I've heard something as well.
Well, the first one kind of makes sense. They wanted it to coincide with Celebration. And since Celebration is starting on Thursday, I believe, and
Which would be the
Obi-Wan is
26th.
releasing on Friday, still, it's like,
you
Yes.
knew what Celebration was going to be, though. It's not like this is a surprise. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody was in a meeting and suddenly they're like, you know what we should do?
yeah.
Like, oh,
Well,
fuck.
Yeah.
the weird thing too is if there's going to be like thousands of people at the celebration, they're probably not going to be watching Obi-Wan. They're going to be at the convention center, or they're going to be out getting.
Well, they're
fucking
going to have
drunk.
they'll have a huge
I'm sure
thing,
they'll
and
have
it'll be
somewhere.
projected on the side of the fucking Epcot ball or some shit.
Yeah.
I guess.
The other rumor I heard is because Marvel is releasing their series Ms. Marvel that day
On the 20.
on the 25th. So they bumped it, which totally that doesn't even make sense either.
I think you
because
killed Dave.
I killed Dave. Should I even explain why it doesn't make sense, or should I just Dave, come back? Oh no, he really is dead.
Yeah. Being told my mic is quieter than the other two. I'm bumping up my volume now. You okay there, Dave?
They're gonna push this Star Wars project for a Miss Maisel Marvel or whatever the fuck it is that you're what?
Oh,
What?
geez.
What is happening?
Don't know for sure.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well,
one of the rumors that I've heard.
I'll tell you what I heard from a coworker. So one of my coworkers said that it's Disney basically shitting on Netflix because I guess the next season of Stranger Things is coming out that same
I've
day.
heard that too.
I know nothing about Stranger Things. I didn't even know they were coming out with a new season. But yeah, apparently somebody thinks that it's Disney just being like, fuck you. We're putting out Obi-Wan the same day. We'll see what gets more views. So I don't know. Again, that's just what I hear.
Yeah. Yep. I've heard it too.
Yep.
Yeah, but he came back.
Yep.
He's not dead yet. He got
Most-
Getting better.
Mostly dead.
So besides that, we also got another little Star Wars tidbit, not directly from Lucasfilm, but from Carl Weathers, who I'd say is a pretty good source. He's an actor in The Mandalorian as well as directed several Mandalorian episodes, mentioned that they have wrapped filming on Mandalorian Season 3, which I didn't even realize they'd started filming on Season 3. So that's good news.
Yeah.
Which makes me think we're probably going to get it around December timeframe again. That seems to be the standard for the Mandalorian / Boba Fett.
That's
Yes.
the rumor that I heard too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. It'll suck to wait that long, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's already fucking April.
Yeah. And then
April of
Yeah.
2022 right now. It's like, holy shit.
They'll have 2 series to fill it in. They'll have Obi-Wan,
obviously,
and
yeah.
supposedly they're supposed to be releasing Bad Batch season 2 sometime in the fall.
Yeah, because I heard that initially got delayed. It was taken off of their release schedule for earlier this year. And then I want to know what the fuck is going on with Andor, because they filmed that before they fucking filmed Obi-Wan. So it must not have been good.
It's probably terrible. Who knew? Who knew that fucking a show about fucking Inigo Montoya was going to be fucking bad? K2SO can only carry that show, but so far, people.
Yeah.
I would love to hear him be snarky for a good long time, but the reality is he can't hold that together for fucking an entire season. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but yeah, I'm excited for Mando season 3. It should be good.
Yeah.
So
And then sometime, hopefully early next year in 2023, we're getting Ahsoka, and
true.
that's my girl, and I can't wait for Ahsoka. So
Yeah.
That's one of those where I'm really the trailer. Seeing that, like, I'm really looking forward to the trailer, because I think that's going to really give us an idea where the fuck are they going with this, right? Because it's like we have no goddamn earthly idea exactly where they're taking this.
Mhm.
I have an idea. I mean, they're all head cannons, but I have an idea.
Yeah, I mean the prevailing thought is obviously Thrawn continuing that storyline, but
Thrawn,
yeah, how is he
Ezra,
mixed in with-
Hera.
yeah, there's so many
Yeah.
questions, that yeah, like Dave said, hopefully would get answered with a trailer. So
Yeah.
get on it,
At
Dave.
least-
Come on.
At least get on the fucking, at least on the path. Get us to where we can have more productive conjecture as opposed to just random fucking dart throwing.
Yeah, maybe they'll throw some breadcrumbs at Celebration.
It's a celebration.
Oh, Nicole in the chat mentioned maybe we'll get an Ahsoka trailer at Celebration. So,
It's a celebration, bitches.
Yeah, Nicole.
yep. So before we get into our weeks, we have some breaking news. Perfect. Picked right up on my cue. We have a new Patreon subscriber.
Oh, yeah?
Shut up.
Yeah, Dragon Buddy is now a patron of the Sidebar Cantina. So thank you, Dragon Buddy. You, sir, are
Dragon
why we
Buddy.
do this.
I know him.
Yeah, good guy. Good guy.
So
from what I hear.
now you have an insider like
Mm-hmm.
into what's going on with the Patreon.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep,
That's
and now
so
he can
funny.
You have
can
your
participate in the polls and
yes. Stop saying polls. I wish we could somehow because you say polls like it's POLE, not POLL.
it's pronounced the same, right?
Uh, I don't know. Somehow when you say it, it's just dirty. I can't even when it's through the headphones for some reason.
I think
don't
I
know.
intentionally like emphasize
You
the
must.
word and put a little.
The emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Oh god, I think I'm dying over here. All right. Anyway,
Before we move on to our weeks,
Mhm.
did you see? I want to talk about the Top Gun trailer real quick. The latest Top Gun trailer.
I haven't watched it.
What?
I've been busy.
So have I.
Sorry.
Kelly, have you seen it?
I'm sorry, I have not. I didn't even know it came out. I mean, I saw a trailer like 5 years ago, but
Yeah. Well, it's just a new trailer. The movie doesn't come out until like next month, I think.
maybe.
I can't even with you two.
Sorry. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Well,
But no
it's-
spoilers.
Did Goose come back?
Yeah,
Mm.
Zombie Goose came out climbing out of the ocean on top of the canopy of the F-14, and used his arms to canoe back to the. You just have to watch it. I wish you guys had seen it so we could talk about how
All right.
Sorry.
exciting it will be to get a little bit closer to that movie actually coming out. Hopefully,
Allegedly. We'll see.
allegedly.
Next time, shoot us a text.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. I am the most isolated out of all of you. I'm the most isolated, and I somehow
Make a
knew it was out.
playlist. I've been living in 1993 this week.
All right. Well, I promise you I'll watch it this week and we can talk about it next week. How's that?
Yeah.
Good?
Fine.
All right.
When it'll be completely irrelevant, but fine.
Yeah. So, moving into our weeks. This is going to be the longest episode ever. Moving into our weeks, for me, like I said, I've been fucking busy. I worked all fucking weekend. Didn't really have any free time between work and getting ready for this show. So I haven't done shit, but I may have some very big news next week. I hate to be that guy that plants the seeds and then doesn't, say anything, but stay tuned. There might be some major announcements next week, just mostly in my personal life, but something that could affect the show.
You're like one of those guys that goes on Facebook and says like, "I'm at the hospital, FML," and then doesn't say anything for days.
Oh god, if I ever actually turn into that guy, fucking just take me outside and shoot me. I hate people that
I
do that.
will.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah.
Kristen too.
Yeah.
I'll put you out in a parking lot and drag you behind the goddamn ambulance.
hmm But yeah, I didn't get to do shit this week. Not a goddamn thing for myself.
You just told Dave you were too busy to watch a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my week. So that was quick and easy. Dave, what about you?
So while Jason's pretending like he's fucking busy, I had all my normal shit, right? All my normal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, it was my first week of grad school. It was this week. And so it's in the books, my first week. I survived. And it is going to be it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking hard. But I'll do it. It's going to be fine. It's establishing the fucking battle rhythm. It's going to be
You're just
fire.
I know this this is fine.
Fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
This is fine. Yeah, where's my it's at work. I have it. This is fine pop.
You're like the personification of that meme right now.
This is
Yeah.
fine. It's very, very interesting. I'm doing cognitive psychology right now, and it's the material is actually really interesting.
Mhm.
The paper writing is what's the challenge. And I don't have problems BSing papers, but like when you're writing so many of them, it's tough to BS that much.
Right.
So because you're writing a 3-page paper every week or a
Right.
3.5-page paper every week at a minimum. And then you have this like other thing and blah, 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 blah. So woe is me, but that's been every day is coming home from work, and work's just been insane. We've been doing exercises and all this other bullshit. So coming home from work and trying to get that done and doing lodge stuff and again, pretending like Jason's actually fucking doing something with his life. And
I don't know why you got to target me all of a sudden today.
fielding panic text messages from Jason about what he's supposed to wear.
Oh yeah, no, I've been a fucking wreck
Yeah.
this last week, and again,
What
more
you're
to follow next week.
Where?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you have to understand that, like, for those of us who all we did was wear a uniform every day for fucking 22 to 25 years,
26 here.
you don't really think about, like, all right, if I have to go out into the fucking economy, what am I supposed to be wearing? What's my new uniform going to look like? You know, what do you wear to job interviews? Like, they have transition assistants, like, so you'll do things like
Hypothetically, if somebody were to hypothetically go on a job interview,
yeah, hypothetically,
If it
based
was
off of
my
no
husband,
facts or anything.
right? If you
Yeah.
were going to, if you were preparing to retire, which Jason is retirement eligible, so if he was smart, he would be doing this in preparation for his future life.
Mhm.
And
Hypothetically,
in theory,
yes.
then you would, all right, what color suit should I wear, and things like that. You don't know these things, so I 100% understand it's not outlandish at
leave
all.
it to your wives. Your wives will know exactly what to put you in.
Yeah, but they're used to seeing us in a certain way too. I mean, legitimately, it's you get so like, here's my uniform. Like, I'm going to a formal event. Yeah. Yeah. I would hit it with some Febreze first.
I'm sure it smells fine.
I'm sure. Hopefully the interview is via fucking Zoom.
Just so that
You can't smell it.
Hypothetical interview.
You
Any
can't go
interview
wrong.
that may be hypothetically happening.
You can't go wrong with khaki colored slacks, a nice button down shirt, a tie, and a suit jacket.
No,
You
best
can't go wrong.
the best thing you do is you buy a navy suit, right?
That's another one.
Navy suit, white button down, pair of
Mhm.
brown shoes, brown
Mhm.
belt, and you let your wife pick out a tie.
Yep.
And boom, you're done. That's
I have
that's all.
both for DB.
That's all. That's all you need to do.
Well,
And
if
you
this
should always
hypothetical
have a black-
situation ever comes up, then I'll
Yeah,
know what
and
to do.
don't wear the fucking tank top. And what the fuck is a Swedish pizza?
A Swedish pizza
Is that innuendo for something?
I don't know.
I gave her a Swedish pizza, if you know what I mean.
is the Swedish chef. So
Burk.
that's
Best I got over here is
Throwing
I
shit
could,
down
though.
there.
Oh no.
I could get the Swedish chef for the soundboard here. Either way. All right. Dave, are you done? Are you-
I didn't even start. What are you
oh my
talking about?
god!
He said that he was helping you pick out your clothes. So
Anyway,
Hypothetical clothes.
Villanova made the Final Four for the basketball thing that Jason doesn't know anything about.
It's where they throw the
Unfortunately,
ball through the hoop, right?
right.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of doing that all the way up until they were the last of 4 teams, and then they lost in the Final Four. It was a good run. but basketball is dead to me now. I don't follow the NBA, even though the Sixers have a chance. Apparently, it's dead to me.
Mhm.
Baseball, it is baseball time. After March Madness, after the tournament, it is time to switch hats. Now have my baseball hat on. I listened to the Phillies game. I paid to be able to listen to the radio broadcast on my phone. So even when I'm at work, I can sit there and I can listen to the game. And it's baseball time. And this year, usually it's baseball all the way up until like football starts.
Yeah.
This year, I'm going to have some football overlap though, because of the USFL.
Oh, that's right.
So more to follow on that.
Mhm.
And this also marks, for people that follow golf, this is Masters Week. So
That's great.
So this is a big deal for, like, honestly, even if you don't follow golf, most people know what the Masters is, because it happens right around Easter. Like, it's kind of like it's a big television event that happens right before spring. So for a lot of people, it's kind of what's on in the background, and I don't know. I thoroughly look forward to Masters Week, and I'll be watching. Tiger's supposed to be playing. It's going to be great. And it really means, for me, seeing the azaleas
Yes.
that Augusta is famous for.
The greens.
See all this stuff. It's like, okay, it's spring. It's time. It's time for the weather to be nicer every day. Which is happening. I mean, Jason can attest. At least not up there.
We got snow yesterday.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding. I had 2 inches on my deck.
God damn.
See, this is, we live north enough, Jason. This is at least yesterday it just rained.
Right.
It was 50 degrees and raining. And that's all right, this is where we're at. It's 50 degrees. And then on Tuesday next week, not this Tuesday, the next Tuesday, it's going to be in the 70s. So we're
desperately needed.
Yeah, we're getting there. So, and that's what that to me, that's what Masters Week is. That's the icebreaker, so to speak, to get us into spring, and that's good. All of us need our mandatory 10-minute exposure to sunlight, since we are so solar powered. To get that vitamin D.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This has to go. That has to go up.
Oh man.
Oh,
The chat's
Dragon
wilding
Buddy
tonight.
Oh, Dragon Buddy.
It wasn't Dragon Buddy.
I know, but Dragon Buddy.
Anyway.
And his 2 inches.
Anyway.
Is that it, Dave?
I am done. Where's Ivo?
Yeah. So Kelly, how many Red 5 shows have you been on this week?
3. I modded for a ton more, but I was only actually on 3. Last Thursday, I did a gaming stream with 97 Bravo for Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, I've got a bone to pick with all you people. You're all playing the Old Republic. I have an active account. Nobody invited me. What the fuck?
You don't ever talk to the Red Fivers, so.
Well, now I'm never going to either.
Anybody can come and play. And Amanda said she would play, and Chantal said that she would play, and I said I would play, and we have our 4. So
yeah, I think we talked about this last week when it came up, and it was because it's a 4-person thing. And
groups of 4. Yeah.
And
4
Chantal
players,
and I are hella new. It's usually pretty comical. Usually we die several times. We usually wind up laughing for 3 hours straight. It's a great time.
Nice.
Great friends. And for some reason the chat fills up because they all want to watch us play video games. So.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And is that done over YouTube or is it done over Twitch?
Both. He live streams on YouTube and Twitch.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
nice.
he does a simulcast.
Nice.
And then last night I was on Comics and Cosmetics with Danny, who is our brand new Red 5 sister. She had myself and Joker Voice on, and we were talking all about Dave, cover your ears. Marvel's Moon Knight.
Oh.
First episode released this week.
So
Freaking-
why is what's his nuts from the Mandalorian? I saw something come across my phone where he was like he stands with Oscar Isaac with the release of that show.
Oh, I ignore all the Twitter drama. I honestly, I know I run the Twitter for you guys, but I don't read anything on there. So
No, it wasn't on Twitter. It's what's the dude's name who plays the Mandalorian?
Pedro Pascal.
yeah.
Yes, Pedro Pascal apparently says that he stands with Oscar Isaac. I guess maybe people are giving him a hard time about his portrayal of the Moon Master character or whatever.
I don't know. I heard it's been getting some mixed reviews, but
No.
I don't know like specifically what that's about.
Oh, Amanda from Galaxy of Queers, she said it's because of the British accent. The British people hate the accent.
Fuck British people. That's what I have to say about that.
It was done bad on purpose.
Those fuckers lost the war. They can eat a dick.
Yeah, they'd be speaking German if it wasn't for us. So
And not fuck British people because one of my friends is British. So
all right, everybody but your friend can. Well, never mind.
okay.
No, fuck the British people. As somebody who's very much Irish, fuck the British people.
Shut up, Jim.
Yeah. I don't want to get our stream taken down by YouTube for hate speech. So,
And I'm not there to stab them either. So
yeah. So, all right. Anything else for your week, Kelly?
I've just been living in 1993 and still trying to recover from Rona. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, good stuff. Speaking of 93, are we ready to get into our main topic today? Anybody need a break before we?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. I got the peace sign ready to go in case I do mid-topic. But yeah, music of 1993. So we've been knocking them out year by year. 93 was the next one. And this was an interesting year, I think. And when we get to our top 5 list, I'm really curious to see what you two have. And Kelly, you have all the listeners' guesses for what our number ones are, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
They did.
And anybody in the chat, if you did not submit one to Lunar Girl, feel free to throw it in the chat what you think our top songs of 93 are going to be. And as we always do, we kind of talk about where we were during this time. Where were you when they built that ladder to heaven? So, it's a South Park thing.
I remember.
So,
oh god.
so yeah, for me, this was sophomore and junior year of high school was 93 for me. So sophomore year, I got a car, got a job, and I was driving everywhere. And for me, driving meant music. So everywhere I went, I'd always have music playing. At this point, I still had a cassette deck in my car. So it was all about the mixtapes, baby. So even though CDs were really starting to, pick up a lot of steam and become more mainstream, cassettes were still where it was at.
CDs were really tough to have in a car.
Yeah, because back then you had to do the whole, like what we saw in Wayne's World with the fucking the Discman on the dashboard with the fucking wire run to the cassette deck with the cassette adapter, which I didn't have that yet. So yeah, I was still running on mixtapes, and man, I had a mixtape that was full of a lot of these songs from 93 that we're going to talk about.
In Pennsylvania, it had a whole nother problem because we're the pothole state. So it was very extremely tough to drive around with one of those portable CD players.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you hit a bump and it fucking skips.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and somebody thought you'd be able to run in those things like you could a Walkman. Too.
Oh yeah,
that's what's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, and then the bat like, oh, we're gonna put some skip. Like, oh, we'll put some skip prevention in here, and then the batteries would run out before the first song was over.
Yeah. And, I was still getting all of my music from MTV at this point, MTV, the local radio. And 93 was the year that I saw Spin Doctors and Soul Asylum in concert.
I saw them in 94.
94.
Spin Doctors, Gin Blossoms, Cracker.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty much what I was doing in 93. Dave, how about you?
I was, hang on, let me type this out. I need to make a note.
Oh, okay. We'll just wait for you to be done.
Yeah, you should. No, that for me that was junior year going into my senior year. That was, driving the same. I didn't have a job yet. I didn't really start working until I was already out of high school anyway.
Really? You didn't work jobs in high school?
No. I was in sports. I had after school activities with sports and kind of watching my sisters and doing shit like that. So
yeah, that stuff really conflicts.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a thing. So a lot of the exposure I had to music was still like in the back of the bus for with the swim team, back and forth to practices, and what I would get on the radio. Y100 was a thing. It was what Preston and Steve, if you're in the Philadelphia area, Preston and Steve are the morning show that's still in Philadelphia now. And Preston and Steve were just starting off in Philly area on this alternative station called Y100. So the Pearl Jams and Nirvanas and those bands were playing on Y100. So starting to listen to that and get into that a lot more because it was on the radio. And again, unlike you guys, growing up in a major metropolitan area, I had access to so much different music over the radio because I had 3 different rock stations that I could, I could hop between 3 different rock stations on any given day if I wanted to.
Yeah, we had one in my hometown.
Yeah, I had 2 alternative stations. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, so I had a huge variety. So even like having mixtapes and stuff like that was good, but I had the benefit of having a lot of variety on the radio. So I relied a lot on that.
Nice. And before we get into you, Kelly, Press Play made a great comment in the chat. 93 was the year of the multi-band concert because none of these people had an hour and a half of good music to play. And in the case of Spin Doctors and Soul Asylum, you're certainly not wrong.
Factually correct.
Because, I recognize like maybe 4 songs total during that 3-hour concert.
Right.
So.
Isn't that when Lollapalooza came out too? Wasn't that 93?
I want to say it might have been. It was somewhere in this time frame. I didn't see it. Okay.
TB can look that up.
I think so.
He's good like that.
Yeah. Normally we'd ask you to look it up, but you're
somebody in the chat.
So somebody in the chat, help us out.
Help.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kristen mentioned in the chat she also loved Y100. She grew up in this area, so she had access to that as well. But all right, Kelly, what about you? What were you doing in 93?
In 93, I was the oldest of 5 kids. I did not have a car. I was in my sophomore and junior year of high school, just like you. We're the same age. We're only 2 weeks apart, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
2 weeks apart. Yeah. I did not have a car. We were Poe, but my best friend Big Swede had a car. It was more like this giant Colt station wagon, and we always listened to music. I got to make copies of all of his tapes because he was nice like that, as long as I gave him $5 or a new tape. We had one radio station that played the rock alternative. That was 99.1 The Whale in Binghamton. We did not have MTV because cable did not reach Pleasant Mount. Seriously, it was the country up there, but we weren't able to watch MTV if we stayed at somebody's house. And we did get our music from the MTV Awards, which was televised on local network stations like a week after it took place.
Oh, no shit. So you wouldn't get to see it on MTV itself, but you'd see it on the local stations.
Yeah, usually I want to say Fox used to cover it. And they did on Friday nights on NBC. They had a music show. I wrote it down. It was called Friday Night, formerly Friday Night Videos. They would show videos, and you had to stay up really, really late. I want to say it was like 11 o'clock, midnight on a Friday night, and you got to see an hour's worth of videos. And I'm telling you, that's how I got them.
And it's so funny too, because saying that now, I'm sure anybody listening, like kids listening today, are like, why was that such a big deal? It was a big deal for us back in the day. And I would imagine, especially for you who didn't have access to MTV.
Yes.
But even back in the day, I loved just sitting down and watching an hour's worth of music videos. And typically it'd be on a loop on MTV too. So yeah, no, totally understand the excitement and desire to want to stay up and watch that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Anything else for you, Kelly?
No, that was basically it.
So, we do a segment on the show every week called This or That, where our social media director, Lunar Girl, puts up a poll on our Instagram. And what is our Instagram, Dave?
At the Sidebar Cantina.
She gives you 2 options. You select one of the options, and we go over the results here on the show. And since she is here on the show, she is going to lead us through this the results for This or That. So
this is fantastic. I'd like so much less reading on my part. It's fucking awesome.
I'm so glad you can rest your eyes tonight.
Yeah. So let's get to it. Tell us what we had and what the results were, and let's get into it.
You got it. The first question was, this was your jam. We had What Is Love by Hadaway, and we had that go up against Rump Shaker by Rex and Effects.
I think by our head bobs, what is love, obviously.
Baby, don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me. No more.
No more.
Oh.
It's certainly the most recognizable of those.
Oh yeah. I mean
Rump Shaker, has its moment for sure.
Yeah. And What Is Love did win 63% to 37%. So
37. Oh,
I'm 37?
That's what you should have played when she talked about
Red 5?
no, the Caroline
the cosmetics and
yes.
Oh, comics and cosmetics?
Yes, thank you.
Because
what did I say?
I'm 37?
technically they are 37, right?
Right, exactly.
Yes, they are the 37th. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I didn't put that together.
And apparently Stone Bleeds is 37.
I'm 37?
All right, what else we got?
Next, we have This 80s Comeback Did It Better. We have Come Undone by Duran Duran up against If I Ever Lose My Faith in You by Sting.
Ooh.
So I'm going with Duran Duran.
Mhm.
I will elaborate when we get to our top 5 lists.
Ooh.
This is a close
I also went with Duran Duran, although I think both of those songs actually were very well done for the
Both
for the
of those songs
remix.
pretty good. I also went with Duran Duran, and Duran Duran won 53% to 47%. It was
pretty close.
very close. It was
A
very
tight one.
Mhm. Next, we have this breakup song you put on repeat, because let's face it, high school romances, we all had that breakup song.
Mm-hmm.
We have If I Ever Fall in Love by Shy and I Would Die Without You by PM Dawn.
So I Die Without You by PM Dawn almost made my top 5 list. I fucking love that song. So obviously that's what I went with.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize either of these songs, so I didn't choose.
That is quite okay.
I'm sure if you played them, I would recognize them,
Yeah.
but
I know you would. 63% of our followers voted I Would Die Without You by PM Dawn, as opposed to 37%
I'm
for,
37?
there you go, for Shy.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
In a row?
All right, moving on.
Of course, we had to have a rap battle question in here. I Get Around by Tupac against Nothing But a J Thang by Dr. Dre.
That throw is a level that pays me.
I hated all of the West Coast rappers at this point in my life. I didn't like the Dre stuff. I didn't like Snoop Dogg. We're going to talk about him. So
Snoop Dogg, get dog.
yeah, and it didn't help that MTV played the shit out of all of this stuff. And that I also went to a high school with a bunch of white kids who thought they were all gangsters because of music like this. It's like,
Fair
shut the
enough.
Fuck up.
I went with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did not go to a high school that was filled with a bunch of white gangsters. So we were
No, you're
very
lucky.
preppy. My whole class was filled with a bunch of preppy kids. So
Well, 78% of our viewers also chose Dr. Dre over Tupac.
was the word preppy, that's a very 90s
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
very-
right?
I got accused of being a preppy once in high school. They're like, "Are
I-
you a preppy?" Just because I was wearing like Dockers and like a button-up
Right.
shirt one day, and they're like, "Are you going preppy or something?" I'm like, "No, it's just this is what I had to wear today."
That's so
That's a
funny.
total preppy outfit.
As the words escaped my mouth, I'm like, wow, I don't think I've said that word in 25 years.
No, and I seriously doubt anybody uses it today.
Yeah, no shit.
Perhaps. And then, because there is always a hard one, best grunge album. So small.
So smooth.
You said that there's a hard one.
Oh. Oh.
You gotta watch what you say on this show.
Yeah, come on now.
Sorry.
You tee him up, we're gonna hit him.
I'm new. I have In Utero by Nirvana up against Versus by Pearl Jam. And honestly, I expected to be cursed out over this, and nobody cursed me out. So
For me, I loved Pearl Jam's 10 more than I liked Nevermind by Nirvana, but they flipped for the follow-up albums. Like I didn't like Versus at all for Pearl Jam, whereas I loved In Utero from Nirvana.
Right.
So
I think I went with In Utero
Mhm.
on this one. But to Jason's point, I actually liked more songs off of this album for Pearl Jam than I did the previous one.
oh really? So you
Yeah.
like more songs from Versus than from 10?
Correct.
Okay.
but you
enough.
like Nirvana more than Versus.
I liked In Utero more than
Utero.
Versus. Yeah.
In Utero was pretty heavy and dark. And In Utero won 75% to 25%.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Given our audience, that's not surprising.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about In Utero a little bit as we move along here because I got a few things to mention about that.
I'll add some notes too.
Okay, and was that the last one?
That was the last one. That wrapped it up for all
Alright.
5 questions.
Well, thank you, and thank you to everybody who voted. And again, follow us on Instagram, which is
At the Sidebar Cantina.
yes, and tune in for next week's This or That, assuming we're having one. We don't do it every single week. Sometimes we'll skip based on topics or
We should have one next week for Dune. We
Well, I
should.
wouldn't do.
There's
Yeah.
plenty of stuff out there for
Well, you'd probably have
Good.
to like don't do anything Dune specific, but like compare other
science,
similar.
like sci-fi things. you know?
Sci-fi space movies.
Yeah,
Look,
like
she's-
Tremors versus something. And
She's the expert. She'll.
I know. I'll stay out
like,
of it.
she's a subject matter expert. She can handle this.
It's okay. I got
I-
this.
I'm
All
not.
right.
I'm not worried.
So getting into some of the music of 92,
Mhm.
we always, or 93, we always do, we talk about like holdovers from the year before because that was still pretty big back then. Songs that came out the year before or albums that came out the year before that still had singles being released or just songs that carried over that were so popular they carried over from one year to another. And the first thing I have to talk about is one that was definitely in that category, and that was Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You from the Bodyguard soundtrack. That song was fucking everywhere. Like regardless of whether or not you liked it, you couldn't escape it in the end of 92 or the beginning of 93.
This is true. It was inescapable.
Yeah, and I think it came out in December of 92, the movie and the soundtrack. But it was the top selling single of 93. So
Yeah, it
that
was.
just shows you how popular it was. And yeah, the Bodyguard soundtrack was in the top album sales for the first couple of months of the year. So major holdover from the year before.
Yeah. And when we talked about the music in '92, I think I had mentioned it that I did not hate the Bodyguard movie.
Yeah.
I
No, not your jam, Kelly.
wasn't for me, and hearing the song over and over and over and over and over, and they wouldn't let anybody else get number one, and it was just very frustrating for me as a teenager with nothing else to do.
True, and I think a lot of that popularity and those sales were driven by a more adult audience than us, because
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was a really like a cross
Yeah.
category type of song.
You know what's funny?
Generational.
Yes.
You know, it's
that's
funny.
the word.
You hear that, you know, it's before she goes into that like big crescendo of and I, right?
Yeah.
There's a like little drum drop, like
Mhm.
boom, and I
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
whenever I hear a sound similar to that, it cues in my brain the beginning of that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what situation you're in, you could be sitting in church and it could be like the beginning of something completely different, or it could be the sound of something hitting the floor. As long as if it's the same, that it goes bang and I like it's in my head. That's how much they played that fucking song.
As long as you're not standing up in church and belting that out after he
It's just
drops
like,
his
boom,
Bible.
and I.
Did either of you see that movie? I think it was This Is the End, the one that had Seth Rogen,
Yes.
Phil, no,
It had
James Franco. Yeah, all those
it
actors
had
playing.
everybody in it.
Yeah, everybody
was
playing
in it.
themselves basically. It had a great moment with that song towards the end where it was like the very end scene of that movie. Had the Whitney Houston part.
Yes.
I don't know. You'd have to ask Dragon Buddy if I watched that movie. I'm a music queen. I'm terrible at movies. I totally admit it. I don't know if I watched it. I might have.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
Thanks.
We
Yep.
probably dwelled on it too much.
Another
Boom.
whole. Just need to do that randomly throughout this episode. Doom.
Just find that drop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it'll just like this. There's a penguin in there that suddenly just opens its mouth.
Could have done that after the Will Smith slap, you know.
God,
Ooh, that'd be good. We should edit that into that video. Make our own meme.
we didn't even talk about that.
So, for other holdovers, Eric Clapton's Unplugged was was another one. Now the chat's getting in on the action.
R2.
Look what you've done, Dave.
Go R2.
But yeah, Eric Clapton's Unplugged, which we talked about pretty extensively when we
Yeah.
talked about the music of '92, Tears in Heaven, and then the Unplugged.
Layla.
Still generated a ton of sales in '93, so that was another big holdover.
As it should have.
Yeah, and then there were a few others as well, but those were the main ones that I kind of wanted to bring up. So we had some notable debuts in '93.
Ooh.
Yeah, some people who got their start in '93, be it like solo artists who were part of a group before. Toni Braxton, she had a pretty big career in her first solo album. Are you gonna hum the whole time, Dave?
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Hard not to. Now I'm gonna be singing Whitney Houston in my head all night.
I know it was actually Layla that was in my head. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
From Eric Clapton Unplugged.
Yep. And yeah, so Toni Braxton had her debut. Snoop Dogg, as we talked about, he started off being kind of the side character in a couple of Dre songs. Very quickly got his own solo album, and he was fucking everywhere. But he started in '93. Ace of Base, they started in '93. They may or may not have a spot in my top 5. And then
How could they not?
Yeah.
How could they not?
And then the legendary Jamaican rapper Snow also made his debut in 1993 with Informer.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I actually made some notes for you because I know you're like, Mr. Pop Boy, and I'm rocker
Just talking to you,
chick.
Dave.
No, I'm not talking to Dave. Dave's probably heard of some of these bands.
Okay.
These bands also all formed this same in 1993. Jason, you might know one or two, but Apocalyptica formed in 1993.
Heard of them,
Children
yes.
Yes.
of Bodom was 1993.
Oh, nice.
Cold Chamber was
Ah.
1993.
Oh.
Korn, Jason, you please
I-
tell me who Korn
Well,
is.
yes, because at least a few of those members are from my hometown, Bakersfield, California.
Oh, get out.
I
Oh.
did not know that.
Yeah.
Mushroom Head formed in 1993,
Mhm.
and Papa Roach. And Papa Roach is very mainstream. Jason, you probably know who he is.
I know who he is. Not a fan though.
Papa Roach is touring right now under like the name of, I think the name of their, oh, you know what? Disregard. That's Limp Bizkit. Never mind. Limp Bizkit is touring under they're like, Limp Bizkit is the worst band in the world or something like that.
That's
and
like the name of their tour.
That's the name of their tour.
Yeah. The reason why this is so extremely significant in the rock world is because this is when the change first started taking place between rock and heavy metal. They started to blend and evolve. Because of this, we got alt metal, we got alt rock, we got new metal, industrial metal. This is like really, really huge. This was the next generation of rock and metal, like right here in 1993. So it's really huge.
I do remember a lot of that, and I do remember like rock being like massive, at least for me and my crew of friends. That kind of started in 91 with the resurgence of Metallica, Guns N' Roses, all that, and then it kind of branched off and all these other bands, and it was big for all of us.
It was huge. It was a brand new sound, and I mean, I fell in love immediately.
Nice.
When did we get metal? R2, you were really super excellent with memes. You got to make that Will Smith slap Whitney for me.
When do we get the metal? You know, the metal.
R2 is also blaming Tony Braxton for basically killing the Dallas Mavericks at some point. So, apparently she tainted a few of their players. So.
I mean, I don't know where to go with that.
Right.
I'm not that fast. Apparently she is.
We talked a little bit during this or that about In Utero, Nirvana's follow-up to Nevermind, which was, highly anticipated because Nevermind was such a huge fucking success over 91 and 92. They were like the fucking band at that point.
Yeah.
And so like their follow-up, which was released, I think it was like September of 93.
September 13th.
Yeah, highly anticipated. And it was both critically and commercially successful. The critics loved it.
Yeah.
Obviously it sold, I think they said 15 million copies, which is pretty fucking good. And it's like to this day, like doing some research, they call it one of the best grunge albums of all time, one of the best like rock albums of all time. So
it was just so heavy. It was so dark. It was full of emotion and cryptic expression. And I mean, I know me and Swede, we just gravitated towards it. It was just a sound that it was intoxicating.
Darkness.
No parents.
I was almost goth, but I turned grunge instead.
Yeah, and I can remember, of course, the music video for Heart Shaped Box that came out with this, like some fucking crazy, disturbing imagery throughout this whole thing. But yeah, it was definitely them saying, "Hey, we're going in some new directions here, so buckle up."
Yeah. I am sorry, Alan. I still love you. I still love you.
Listen, you can have differences of opinion, and not all of. There was definitely, I think Nirvana was one of those bands that, because it was defining a generation, that not everyone who necessarily fell into that category, where it's like, oh, this is what I gravitate towards. Like, it wasn't a casual listening thing. Like, this is hey, this is speaking to me, and on a particular level of
right.
Where teenagers and like
angst,
like
angsty.
It was hitting people in a particular way that like you weren't going to listen to it casually on the radio, and go like, "Oh, that's got a fun beat. I like
Right.
those kids playing that
Right.
music." You're not going to get that crowd. You're
Yeah.
going to get these are the people that really are into this, or you're going to get people that are like, "What the fuck is this screeching?"
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
And you got a lot of that back then. Not everybody loved Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
Some people just it wasn't for them. So, for every person that hated Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You, there's going to be somebody that didn't like Nirvana. And
Oh, yeah.
that's fine. We've all got our own
Totally.
opinions. But you can't take away from the fact that they were extremely popular at the time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and I
And-
think unfortunately that was to the detriment of Kurt Cobain himself, because I think that's a big part of why we
Exactly.
eventually lost him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Alan, as I'm defending you, and then you have to throw you two into the most overrated bands in history.
Oof.
I agree with him on that one. I'm sorry.
Really, for
I'm
you
sorry.
two?
Yeah, I don't like you too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't stand
Joshua
Bob.
Tree is one of the best albums ever made.
I like some songs, like maybe 3 YouTube songs, and the rest is just like,
It's YouTube, not
Yeah.
YouTube.
Not YouTube. Did I say YouTube?
You did. You did
Oh.
say
I meant you too. I don't know why I said YouTube. I'm blaming that on the brain fog.
YouTube. Trash. No, I mean I get it. I do. I get it. There's a lot of newer YouTube stuff that I don't agree, and a lot of it has to do with their politics. But some of those
Yeah.
older YouTube albums, holy fuck, if that's not just musically just amazing. But
Which,
anyway,
speaking of U2, they released an album in this year in '93, the Zooropa album.
Zooropa, yeah,
Yeah,
which
which I bought.
wasn't.
Yeah, I own that album.
Yeah,
In fact, I still have the CD somewhere.
Mhm.
But kind of finishing up the Nirvana conversation before we move on to other stuff. 93 was also the year they recorded and aired the MTV Unplugged for Nirvana.
I got notes on that. You know that.
Oh yeah. Even though the album would not be released until 94,
Correct.
94.
it aired and played and was recorded in 93. And I mean, Dave and I talked about it at length when we did our Nirvana episode, how much we loved that album and how good it was. But Kelly, what notes did you have for that?
I wanted to say it was filmed in one take. One take. Kurt Cobain really wasn't feeling good. He was trying to get off of heroin again at that time. He was going through heroin withdrawal. So he was very sick. Pat Smear was brought into the band at that time. He used to be a guitarist for a punk band, The Germs. The Meat Puppets were touring with Nirvana at that time, and they happened to be at MTV Unplugged, and Nirvana grabbed them onto the stage to perform 3 of their songs.
Yep. And just real quick to take a step back, that guitarist that appeared,
That's
I remember watching this and thinking, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
Because you see the 3 main guys from Nirvana, Dave Grohl, Kurt Cobain, and the other guitarist whose name I can never remember, the guy who broke his nose throwing his guitar.
Chris Novoselic.
Yes. But then, there's this 4th guy on the stage with them, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? It was just funny, back in 93.
That was Pat. And you just saw this broken shell of a man.
For Kurt.
This is, you could really see how he hated the popularity. All of his stuff was mainstream, and he was extremely against it. He wanted to play small venues like he originally started. They're doing, stadiums. You could just see this big shell of a man. He was never home. He had a newborn at home, Frances Bean. It was just very different from the Nirvana that you saw back in 91 and 92 versus now. So
Yeah, but I mean, the interesting thing is, even though he was going through all this, it didn't show, because the showmanship was, on point, because
It
all of
was
the dialogue in between songs and everything that he had, it was really entertaining.
it was absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to say, rest in paradise. Tomorrow would be 28 years that he passed away.
Oh, tomorrow's the anniversary.
Anniversary.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And unfortunately, within I guess it was 6 or 7 months of this Unplugged being recorded and airing, that we lost him. And
Yeah,
That's
it aired
sad.
in December. It recorded November 19th of 93. It aired in December.
Mhm.
And then he was gone in April.
Yeah, crazy. So I don't know what Dave is doing. So I'm just going to continue on with what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm right here. Don't worry about it.
I hope he's not peeing in the house.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious if he just went off of camera just long enough to pee. Still with the microphone.
Harry bottle.
Listen, if the cord was long enough for the
Uh,
headphones, then maybe.
I'm just gonna move on. An album that came out this year that was really big for me was Aerosmith's "Get a Grip." I don't know if either of you were too fond of it, but that was the one that had all of the Alicia Silverstone music videos that came out,
Yes,
"Crying,"
yes.
"Crazy," and "Amazing."
Right.
Yeah.
But I love that whole album. And of course, one of my favorite songs on the whole album was "Living on the Edge."
Right.
The video that had Eddie Furlong, but it was the song that Steven Tyler wrote after the LA riots, after the Rodney King incident and everything. And that
God,
was
you forget that happened this year.
yeah,
In 93.
because that was big, because being a California boy, only 90, 100 miles away from LA, the visibility was there. Pretty hot and heavy. And yeah, he wrote "Living on the Edge" in response to the fucking LA riots and LA fucking burning that year.
We may talk a little bit about more about this album a little later.
Okay, gotcha. I can read between the lines.
Yeah.
I'll talk more about Rodney King inspired song a little bit later too.
Oh shit.
interesting.
Oh shit.
We even though I've never been
Same wavelength here.
I've never been a huge Janet Jackson fan, but I know somebody's already mentioned her in the chat, and her album, Janet. Yes, exactly, Dave. The album Janet with the hands on the boobs and all of that. That was all this year. So she had a couple of huge hits this year. So this really was the year of Janet Jackson.
Yeah, she did. Wait, what? What are we talking about?
Songs, Dave. We're talking about songs.
Oh.
Boobs.
Yeah.
Boobs.
But yeah, no, it was she had a big year. Billy Joel, that River
he
of
made
Dreams
Yep.
album came out this year. Again, I'm not a huge Billy Joel fan, but I understand how big and how popular he was at the time. So
Yeah.
that was a big one. And let us not forget, because we talked about this when we talked about the music in 92, country music was really making a push into the mainstream. Yes, you can roll your eyes, make all the faces you want,
No,
but
I can respect it. We actually have a good chunk of country songs.
yeah, a country song almost made my top 5. There's a country song in my honorable mentions, but Garth Brooks again was dominating the music charts this year. He had another album. Which one was this? Because he released like 2 albums a year in the 90s, it felt like. But this one was In Pieces towards the end of 93.
And Garth Brooks was one of those guys too that he was way more mainstream. Like,
oh yeah, he was probably the most mainstream at this point than anybody else.
Yeah.
He was the hey, if you're at a party and you're not country, but a Garth Brooks song came on, it was tolerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is country, but not really.
Because everybody knew friends in those places, and that's the thing. You'd get drunk and you'd sing along to.
I got friends.
Yeah, exactly.
In places.
So, but one album or release or artist, whatever you want to talk about, that I really want to talk about and get your guys' opinion on is
Oasis. Sorry. What?
And to answer your question, Bronco Fett, Chris Gaines was like 95, something like that. It was several years later.
Places.
Oh my God, he's killing me.
Dragon
Meatloaf.
Body like that song about hoochie coochie, Chattahoochee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, how did it go? Way down in the Chattahoochee, and the hoochie coochie.
See, you know it.
I listened to a lot of country at that point in my life.
He owned cowboy boots.
I did.
I know.
He owned
Anyway,
cowboy
so
boots.
Meatloaf.
I own combat boots.
Mom, Meatloaf.
Mom,
no, Meatloaf had
Meatloaf!
a pretty big comeback this year.
Yes, he did.
Like he was out of the public eye for years. Like I think his
Yeah.
last big hit was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then he kind of went away, and then all of a sudden Meatloaf is back with the "I'd Do Anything for Love" in the "Bad Outta Hell 2" album.
Right.
Mhm.
And again, you talk about something that was played fucking everywhere all the goddamn time as soon as this came out. But for me, this was my first exposure to Meatloaf.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys were in the same boat.
Well, this was what's really funny, like this was a dance song.
It was a high school dance song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And even funnier, like, so this, like at high school dances, like, okay, here's this Meatloaf song, because it was like this extended version of this song, right? It had all the guys on one side and the girls on the other, and you do the thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, fast forward to my kids, and they'd be at these dances, and it's the same thing. They're doing the same fucking thing to the same Meatloaf song, you know,
Right.
2 decades later. And it's just really funny, and how into it they got.
Mhm.
Like, you know, you wouldn't think they're playing like such different music throughout the entire thing, and then suddenly the Meatloaf song comes on, and like, yeah, and they immediately go into the same, you know, that same, you know, doing the same thing that you were doing when you were, you know, hearing it as a kid.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was cool. It just, how much it crossed those generations, because it's a fun little ditty. You know, it is one of those songs where
Oh, yeah.
everyone kind of can get into and know the words
Yeah.
and enjoy it.
Yeah, and he's got a
Yeah.
very good, loud, recognizable singing voice too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah, and he's just a character, you know.
He
Oh,
was.
yeah.
He's very theatrical.
Yeah.
You know, he gives it his all in his performances. This was not my first exposure to Meatloaf, because before rock and everything like that, I listened to a lot of classic rock. You know, like my mom grew up in the 70s, you know, so we had Paradise by the Dashboard Light, and we already knew Bat Out of Hell. So
Yeah, which
But-
is funny because I discovered Paradise by the Dashboard Light years later, like, and I fucking love that song
Really?
now. It's in one of my workout playlists.
it's a great song.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's probably still my favorite by him.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But yeah, for me, this was my first exposure to him. I think
Yeah.
I kind of recognized him when he first came out, and you know, there was all this like, oh yeah, Meatloaf, big comeback, blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't know anything he's done, but this song's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just fun. And what's really funny is, so you had this song, and then this was, I think in '93 was the year that I went to see Rocky Horror Picture Show
Oh yeah,
in the
Yes.
theater,
Mhm.
like, and
with
had the
with
whole
full experience.
with the full theater experience, and
With
that was,
paper and-
yeah, the rice, and yeah, my friend Sean actually, like, somebody stood up and whipped rice, turn around with like, whipping rice around. He's got this rice right in his eye. And like,
Oh, Jesus.
kind of ruined the whole night. But it was,
Ouch.
that was like, oh wait, that's Meatloaf. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, we didn't have movie theaters in the country, so you know, but
Yeah.
I did watch it on a tape.
we had one theater in a couple of towns over that
Mhm.
they at midnight on Friday night they would play it,
That's
and you'd
awesome.
be able to go there. So you were able to see it, like, oh, you haven't seen it? Come on, let's go. And you'd get a pile of people to go in there, and they would sell out some nights. It'd be fucking phenomenal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
did that at slumber parties. You know, it's a thing to do because you know there was nothing to do in the country. So
You can go out and
Couple
look at the
I did rock-
amazing star fields that you get without all this fucking pollution.
that is absolutely true. But it was something that was a hidden side of me back then. You know, nobody wants to sit out in a field on a Friday night and look at the stars. So
indeed. One other thing I wanted to throw in there about Meatloaf too was, you know, we talked about when we talked about Wayne's World and the anniversary that Meatloaf had that cameo in there. I don't think I ever like made that connection, even after, you know, Meatloaf had this comeback album, and I still loved Wayne's World at the time. I don't think I made that connection until years later. I was like, oh shit, that was Meatloaf at the door of the fucking club.
Yep.
But yeah, just a funny thing that
Yeah.
had happened the year before this.
yeah,
So something else I wanted to talk about. You know,
yeah.
when we do these, we don't really talk too much about greatest hits albums, but one of the best greatest hits compilations ever came out this year, and I bought it that year. I still have that CD to this day, and that was the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers greatest hits came
Oh
out this year, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge fucking Tom Petty fan. Like, I loved all of his stuff in the 80s. I loved a shitload of his stuff from the 90s.
Yeah.
Massive Tom Petty fan. So
But didn't he
yeah,
have some new hits on that same album? Like, wasn't it a double album where there were some new hits and then his?
it might have been a double cassette. It was a single CD. I know that, and I can't remember if there was any new tracks on that or not. But yeah, it didn't matter. I
could have
fucking
sworn like Last Dance with Mary Jane came out that year.
oh, that I
Pretty
think
sure it
that's I
did.
think that was on that. Yeah, I think that was the
Right.
new song that was on the greatest hits. You're right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, which was good. That fucking video, disturbing as hell. It was like a dead what's her name? Kim Basinger was in that video, and it was like, and Tom Petty was basically like doing Weekend at Bernie's with her,
Yeah.
like fucking dancing with her corpse and shit. It is fucking disturbing as hell. But,
Last Dance with Mary Jane.
Mhm.
yeah. So, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up too, because, you know, we kind of lose sight of stuff like that in these years, because if somebody releases a greatest hits album and there's no new tracks on it, it kind of falls under the radar when you're looking at old music charts and things like that. So that did pop up, and I'm like, fuck, I love that greatest hits album. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a different greatest hits album
from
It was
'93.
No. From Tom Petty.
Okay.
I picked it up in like 2000, so it was somewhere around that time.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know how I missed this in the notable debuts, but Sheryl Crow also debuted in '93 with her Tuesday Night Music Club album.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, we might hear more about that later when we get into some top lists.
Lots to have some fun and drink beers.
Indeed. I mean, nothing wrong with that, right?
Mhm.
So, do we need to talk any more about Informer at all? Like the Snow song, because that was a pretty notable song. It was,
Could you do it? Like, can you do the?
I could do the In Living Color parody a lot better than I can the original. Impasta. I'm just a middle class white guy from Toronto, in spite of how I sound.
Good.
You got to remember, man, In Living Color was still huge at this point.
Yeah.
And you know, anytime there would be a big song, they'd have to do a fucking parody of it, and they jumped right on fucking Informer.
Speaking of that, how could we forget that the top breaking through artists went on Saturday Night Live back in 1993, and it was good to watch. I think they had the best cast that they've ever had during that year. But yeah, you got 2 songs from all of the breakthrough artists of that year too.
That is true. Yeah, I didn't even think to like look and see who all performed on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when SNL was at their like just absolute best. You had
Oh, hell
Sandler and Farley and Spade and all those guys.
Yes. Michael Myers was just coming into play. It was right before Phil Hartman died.
Yeah.
Who's he? What's it? Oh, big guy.
Big guy. Oh,
Chris Farley.
Thank you.
yeah, Chris
Yes.
Farley. Yeah, because
He was
we were.
still there. Chris Rock,
Yeah.
Kevin Nealon.
Kevin
Oh
Nealon.
yes, I'm Kevin Nealon, and that's news to me.
Oh, all the greats.
So also wanted to mention another silly song that came out was Whoop, There It Is.
Oop,
by
there it
Tag
is.
Team.
Oop, there it is.
Now, did you both know that there was another song that came out right around the same time called
Yes.
Hoot, There It Is?
I thought it was Woot.
Well, Woot, Hoot, whatever. It's like, yeah, WOOT, There It Is.
WOOT, yeah.
Something like that by like something 95 or 95 something.
95 something or other. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were competing Hoot and Whoop, There It Is songs,
Yeah.
which was fucking ridiculous. And I had a friend who had both singles.
Yeah.
So I'm very
it's-
familiar with both songs.
What I liked is the fact that they remade like those 2 guys did that commercial for the
Chocolate, scoop.
Scoop, there it is.
Oh.
Scoop, there it is. It was it for Geico or something? It was like for an insurance company.
It
they're-
was.
They're in some broad's kitchen.
Scoop
And
and
they're
ice
like,
cream.
scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. And he's like pouring chocolate on it. It's
Tag
actually,
team.
yeah, it's like, oh, hey, look, these guys still exist. And they made probably $15 off of their fucking their thing.
That's a good commercial though, and
It was a good commercial.
The parents are doing the Cabbage Patch, and the kids are looking at them like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know,
Yeah.
like, I really related to that commercial.
I didn't know that was the name of That was the name of that band.
Kristen, you got to do that more often, girl.
Yeah, my wife mentioned that she made our kids listen to "Whoop There It Is," and they wouldn't talk to her for an entire day after that.
Bliss.
All right, so listen to this. So Saturday Night Live season 19, right? This is original air dates. September 1993 was when Nirvana performed "Heart Shaped Box" and "Rape Me."
Oh shit!
The host was Charles Barkley.
Oh,
I remember
wow.
it. I watched it.
Because he was with
I
the Suns at that point, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was. I watched every Saturday Night Live that year. I'm a very huge Saturday Night Live freak.
Yeah, I would imagine I saw that episode too.
The next episode was hosted by Shannon Doherty.
Oh,
So
okay.
you
Yeah,
found-
90210 was a big thing at that point.
Yep.
Another place to get your music, even
And
though
that
it
was-
was the poppy
That,
side.
that was Cypress Hill performed "Insane in the Brain"
Insane in the
tonight.
Oh, that's right.
I
That
Ain't
was a
Going
big
Out Like
song
That.
year. Yep.
The next week was Jeff Goldblum as the host, and Aerosmith performed "Crying" and "Sweet Emotion."
Yep, there you go. Because we talked about "Get a Grip" coming out that year.
And then they also appeared during the Bad Dancer sketch. John Malkovich was the next week, and Billy Joel performed "River of Dreams" and "All About Soul."
Mhm.
The next week was Christian Slater, and it was Smashing Pumpkins performing "Today" and "Cherub Rock."
Oh, that's
Right.
right. They had that
Right.
album that year.
Next week
They
was
copied
Rosie
off-
O'Donnell, and James Taylor performed "Memphis and Slayer." I don't really give a shit about James Taylor.
Mhm.
Um,
Had to put something in there for the boomers.
November 20th of 93, Stone Temple Pilots performed "Creep" and "Big Empty."
Mm.
Nicole Kidman was the host in 93.
It was Days of Thunder for her, right?
Ooh.
Possibly,
Didn't
yeah.
that come out that year?
It was either that or the one where her and Tom Cruise were Irish immigrants.
Oh, Far and Away.
Yeah, Far and Away.
Yeah, it might have been that one.
I need a minute.
Dave, you all right? So
All right.
while you're
Anyway.
composing yourself, Scott from Use and Abuse mentioned, Weird Al's Alapalooza album came out that year. To me, it was a subpar Al album, except it had Achy Breaky Song on there, which we talked about Achy Breaky Heart the year before, and fuck that song. And Achy Breaky Song was the perfect response to that fucking song.
We did
So-
have one request for a Bedrock anthem on this album, so you
Oh,
will find
sweet.
one Weird Al song on the album.
There you
Awesome.
go.
Nobody else gave me any requests, so
What?
Wait,
I know there was only one Weird Al request on that
fuck.
whole
Well,
album.
if I had done that, I would have mentioned Achy Breaky Song.
Well,
so
if you
I
say
blame
it in your
myself.
honorable mentions, Jason, then I am obligated to add it after this show.
All right, fair enough. Anything else, Dave, from the SNL list?
That was it for that year.
Yeah.
So
which-
epic.
For the
Yeah.
end of 93. I mean, there was a couple of good ones that were going to 94, but we'll save 94 for 94.
Oh, don't forget, like earlier that year, wasn't Radiohead on there too?
There might have been. That would
Radiohead.
require me to Google further, and I'm bored with it. So
yeah, no, that was the
Radiohead
year of
is
Radiohead.
Video host.
Yeah, because I may have Radiohead in my top 5 and or honorable mentions. But yeah,
Honestly,
that was the year that Creep came out.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Before we get into our top list, why don't Kelly, since you've already brought up the playlist, do you have some stats for us when it comes to the listener contributions?
Of course I do.
All right, well, what you got?
Of course I do. For our Cantina playlist, we had 36 contributors.
Oh,
Hang
one
on.
more. We needed one more.
Hang on,
I
let me-
know. Well,
Let me
I
contribute.
Oh, hold
I
on, Dave.
backed the shit. Dave, you don't count.
Dave's
You-
contributing. No, Dave's contributing.
I'm 37?
Yeah.
All right.
We had that across 4 of our social media platforms. Dragon Buddy wanted me to say whoever asked to put the Melvins on the playlist, he salutes them. I think 2 or 3 different people added that, but he wanted me to say that on air. So love you, honey. I added a total of 376 songs over this past week.
Damn.
Add up to 29 hours and 1 minute. I will had all three of our songs, our special requests. I'll take a while because everybody who didn't give songs this past week or started remembering songs while this podcast was going on, I'm going to read through the chat. I will try to have this Spotify playlist live sometime tonight, but now that I'm going to go through the chat, it's probably going to delay that a little bit. So as long as I'm awake, I will make sure it gets done.
I will have to say that in my list last night, Kathy and I were talking about, like, we had Alexa playing like certain songs. So
Yeah.
Kathy has a couple of songs that we can add to the list too. So
okay, definitely text me those songs. If the playlist doesn't go live tonight, I promise you it'll be out for coffee time tomorrow.
word.
Yes. I have top requests. Did you guys want to hear our followers' top requests?
Yes.
I would love to hear that.
Oh.
Yes.
Actually,
Do you guys need to have a pee break first?
it's funny because I was just about to put the sign up.
Oh,
So-
okay. Like I have a sign too.
Oh,
Yeah.
So-
perfect.
I
Yay.
think this is going to be a great time to take a quick break.
All right.
And then we'll finish up the top listener requests, and then we'll do our top 5 lists before we close up.
Sounds good.
After this very quick word from our sponsors.
I need to get you guys a sponsor. We need a sponsor. How am I the first one back? I'm a girl. Hi, chat. Hey, friends. Yes, I hope everybody washes their hands. Isaac. Jason, did you wash your hands? Shenanigans. Stone Bleeds. Yes, Asshole made it on the list with several different people requesting it. So yes, that is on the list. I believe you were one of the requesters too. So thank you for that.
We can resume if you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
All right, Dave, whenever you're ready, give us a countdown and we'll get back to it.
All right.
And we're back. So, moving on with our top requested songs for the Sidebar Cantina playlist. Kelly, go ahead with what we got for
got it.
most requested.
You got it. Now, this was really interesting. Like I said, we have 36 contributors, and they're all
I'm pretty sure we had.
I'm 37?
Yes.
Kathy will be 37.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's legit because the three of us don't count because we're automatic. So
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
in a row,
In a row?
in a row. So we had an 8-way tie for fifth. Okay, like
Jeez.
this 8-way tie for fifth. We have for 5th place, Daughter by Pearl Jam, Gin and Juice by Snoop. I don't know. I will do anything for love by Meatloaf. We talked
Okay.
about him. Insane in a Membrane, Cypress Hill. Keep Your Head Up by Tupac.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention Tupac.
I
We
think
didn't know
we
this or
talked
that.
briefly when
Yeah.
you said you hated him, so you
I hate
hated
Dre
the-
more.
Well,
I can tolerate Tupac.
oh, okay.
Is that because he's dead?
Maybe. Well, he did California Love. Well, of course, he did it with Dre. But I love California Love. California Love. Dun, 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 dun.
Another band we talked about, Living on the Edge by Aerosmith.
Hell yeah.
That was tied for 5th.
This was tied for 5th. These are all,
Amongst
Tied
7 other songs.
yes. Slam by Onyx. We did not talk about that song yet, but
we
yeah.
may, we
Dun,
may,
dun, dun, dun. Let the boys be boys.
Yeah, that may come up again.
And You by Candlebox, which that was a kick-ass song.
I don't remember You. I remember Far Behind. That was the
Far
song that they
Behind,
played
yeah.
over and over on the fucking radio.
Yep.
I really liked You better. So
thank you.
in our you're welcome. In our number 4 place is Tool. Tool had an album this year.
I've
Yeah.
noticed we
And-
have a lot of fans of Tool in our listener
Yeah.
Yes.
core.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Tool was freaking phenomenal. I mean,
Yes.
come on.
And
Just-
honestly, this year, like in '93, I think this album is where you start.
yes.
This is where it starts getting to more people and it gets a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
It's that changeover, that evolution of rock and heavy metal, like we talked
Yeah.
about before. You know, Tool was a part of that. They were a huge part of that. But
Yeah. I may have more something more to say about Tool later.
I would love that. I would still love that. Prison Sex was the song that was our number 4th most requested song among our followers. Number 3 was, I believe, Jason, you might have mentioned it briefly. Counting Crows. Did you talk about Counting Crows?
No, but yeah, this was also the year of Counting Crows. You know, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones.
They
Yes,
had a
that
lot of
was
other songs that didn't have like music videos, but got a lot of radio play, like Einstein on the Beach, Rain King. Yeah, they were all over the radio this year, at least
Yeah.
in my
They
hometown.
were.
Right.
Yeah. Even and here too, especially in that Y100 station, Counting Crows were nonstop.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't a huge fan of Mr. Jones, but I like some of their other songs.
Round Here, I think, was another one that
Oh,
they-
Around Here, that's right.
Round Here.
Exactly.
Always share your space. Around here.
Mind.
Always stay up late.
Number 2. Now we're hitting the big votes. These
Right.
were double-digit votes for both of these songs. Number 2 was Nirvana's All Apologies.
Okay, that makes sense.
And yeah, great jam.
Yep.
Can't deny it. Great jam. And our number 1 most requested song from our followers is Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana.
Yep, got a lot of Nirvana fans
Yep.
in our listener core as well.
Yes.
They
we
like
do.
the box.
Yeah.
And I just to add this little tidbit of information in, 3 of our followers actually requested the entire album, which is rare. Usually you don't, I mean, I know a couple of people that would say, Cal, put in the entire album. And I'll say, okay, they came out that year. That's fine. But usually multiple fans don't request an entire album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's valid for that album, I think.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I did in a heartbeat.
So before we get into our top 5 lists,
Yeah.
Kelly, did you compile a list of guesses for what our top songs are going to be?
Of course I did.
Do you want to do those before or do you want to do them after? I think we should talk about them before.
After.
Oh, you want to do them
No,
after?
I want to do them after
Okay.
because we got to do this. You know, it has to be legit. You can't think like, oh, they said my song's going to be so and so, so at the last minute it's going to be this song.
That's,
and
that's true.
no,
Yeah. So we don't change it. But my list is written in pen. I'll show you afterwards. But
Yeah.
I trust you. I trust you.
All
You
right.
give me your top 5s first, and I'll tell you what the fans thought. And I have a top 5 list too. So
all
Good.
right. So I
don't
think
know.
the order
You
we're
want
going
to
to do
do
this.
honorable mentions first?
No.
Let's do them afterwards.
Afterwards.
Okay.
We'll do our top 5 first, and then we'll do the honorable mentions afterwards. So
Okay.
Yes.
I think the way we're going to start this is we're going to go Dave, me, Kelly, Kelly, me, Dave, and back and forth. So Dave, get us started.
Sounds like a '90s pop band or hip hop band.
Yes, exactly.
Kelly Me Dave. Okay, so my number 5 is Tool, and so all right, I put Prison Sex,
Uh-huh.
but in reality, in 1993, it would have been Sober.
Mhm.
Current situation, like current Dave likes Prison Sex from that album better than Sober.
I bet current Dave likes
Never
Prison
say
Sex.
that out loud ever again.
I'll keep saying it. I'm just gonna keep saying it. It's what's really Tool, like having seen Tool this year live for the first time, it was such a fucking just amazing live performance, and I'm so glad I got to check that off my bucket list of bands I wanted to see live. But when Sober hit mainstream on MTV, the video was so different and so jarring. I think that it really, like, it was on MTV a lot, and I think a lot of people really didn't know how to take it.
Right.
And this was kind of the beginning of like what Tool was going to be. Like, Tool was going to have this like amazingly complicated music, along with really like these visuals that are going to make you go like, what is going on? Like, what?
So trippy.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to be feeling about this? And current Dave likes Prison Sex. Yeah, I mean, it's fair.
Lunar Girl likes prison sex too. I mean, I can't leave it hanging. Just never say that out loud, like besides podcasts.
Right, and besides on YouTube.
Besides on YouTube and for you know, everybody.
Yeah.
For at least 16 other people. But yeah, that's, I think for that video, it's something that when I saw it at first, I was like, what am I watching? And then I started to really, I was inundated with it, but it wasn't something that at saturation I was getting sick of. I was actually growing more. I was getting more into the music, and I wanted to hear like, all right, what else is on this album? And I think as it progressed, you know, Tool kind of matured a little bit in their music, and it's such, to me, Tool is like this alt metal classical music, because it's so complicated. Like, and what they're doing and what they're doing with sound, I think it equates to like classical music. So that's why I think I like it, because I have a thing for classical music, and I think that's why I like the sound of it. So anyway, that's a long explanation for my number 5, but that's where my number 5's at.
I'm with you. I'm totally there.
Yeah, good choice. My number 5, comedian Dennis Leary was starting to become very well known around this time. And he released a little single that was attached to one of his comedy albums called No Cure for Cancer, and the song was called Asshole.
Because I'm an asshole.
And oh my god, I fucking loved this song from the moment I heard it. Immediately bought the album. I know every single word to that whole comedy album. Fucking amazing. Love the song Asshole. That like fits the personality that I want to be. You know, that's the guy that I aspired to be as a 16-year-old kid, if that, you know, tells you anything about me.
And this is Dennis Leary, like this is at his finest, right?
Yeah.
Especially like, look at this video, like the haircut, the smoking, just being he's epitomizing this fucking character. It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, because I think our first introduction to him was like these little vignettes he would do on MTV, like in between ranting about certain musicians and stuff. And then
wasn't he on the remote control show? Didn't he host one of the MTV game shows at one point?
Maybe.
I thought he was on one of those too.
Maybe, but I mostly remember him from those vignettes he would do in between like music videos and stuff. And then obviously the No Cure for Cancer album, the song Asshole, and it was all uphill from there. But yeah, that was my number 5 for the year.
When did he do the movie The Wrath?
It was like the next year. It was like 94 or 95.
That is a
oh yeah, no, that movie was fucking phenomenal.
We are doing that movie.
Yes.
Like 100% we're doing that movie for the show.
Kelly, put that in the notes.
Yeah, Kelly, write that down, please.
Voting stars.
See, it's great having you here now. So you can,
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like
Got it.
oh, thanks, Dragon Buddy. Yeah, he was remote control.
He was on remote control because like he wasn't the main host of that show.
No, but I know
So-
he was on it.
Like he had a
at
guest
some
spot or
point.
something. Okay, fair enough. All right, Kelly, you're number 5. What you got?
All right. Number 5, I have No Rain by Blind Melon.
Okay.
My number 5.
All I can say is that my life is
See, it's
very
funny
plain.
because when this song first came out, I fucking hated it. But over the years, especially over the last like 5 years, as I listened to it without watching the music video, just listen to the song and the guitar arrangements, and everything, I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes, it is really good. In a time in my life that was nothing but babysitting, chores, like oldest of 5 kids, babysitting, chores, friends, and school repeat, we forgot homework, tutoring, I had way too many responsibilities in the middle of freaking nowhere. We were extremely bored. This song felt like it was written about me. And then I saw the video like probably a few months later, but it was on that show that I told you about earlier on Friday night, around midnight. And it was like this chunky little bumblebee. And it's like, oh, look at her. She found all of her bumblebee friends. And like, I felt like that loser who finally 93 was a big year for me finding my other loser friends. It was like, here's all these other loser bumblebees. And now they're together and they're happy and they're a family. And, I felt just like that little girl. So
Nice.
I really love this song. It definitely means a lot to me. And I'm one of the few people that enjoy watching it rain. So
Awesome. Well, good choice. And yeah, again,
thank you.
not a favorite of mine in 93, but over the years, I've learned to appreciate it.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's
So,
good.
all right. If Dave, you don't have any comments on that, we'll move right to your number 4, Kelly.
All right. My number 4 is Welcome to This World by Primus.
Ooh.
Oh, I didn't realize they had any kind of release that year.
Oh yeah, Pork Soda was like all the rage.
Oh shit. Okay, I must have got my years confused with
It's
that.
perfectly fine. But that bass. That
Mhm.
bass.
That's what they were known for. You know?
The bass. And I know a lot of my close friends know. On top of music, I was also like this art geek. I used to hide in the art room, just to get away from the preps.
That
I
wasn't this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I used to create these drawings because like I took a lot of art classes. And one of the things that I created was my very own planet called Planet Sludge. And then this song came out and I'm like, this is about Planet Sludge. So it was just perfect timing, a great song. Primus had a sound that I just never heard before.
Oh, they were very unique.
Oh, hell yeah.
Was this the same album that had Winona's Big Brown Beaver?
No.
No,
No,
that
that
was a
was the
different
album
album?
afterwards,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It,
This
I,
was
it was
one,
that was
My Name is Mud. Everybody
Oh,
knows.
my name is Mood.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. My number 4. So, it's no secret that I was a huge Guns N' Roses fan at this time,
Mhm.
and they released an album this year called "The Spaghetti Incident." That was
Oh,
it was a cover album of a bunch of old like punk rock songs, and one of them on there was a song called "Ain't It Fun," which is just an angry, just fucking bitter fucking song. And it's always my go-to song. If I'm fucking pissed off, if I'm like mad about something, if you hear me listening to this song, you know I'm about to fucking murder somebody. But Ain't It Fun by Guns N' Roses, which is a remake of a song, Yeah, fucking absolutely love it, but it's got some, it's filled with like negative energy, and you know, sometimes I like listening to stuff like that, and it's something I still listen to this day on a regular basis. So but yeah, if you ever hear me listening to Ain't It Fun by Guns N' Roses, you know some shit's about to go down. So
Away,
Yeah.
run away.
but yeah, that was my my number 4. David.
My number 4 is Cypress Hill, Little Insane in the Brain.
Nice.
So my list zigs and zags.
Mhm.
And this is one of those kind of zags into an area where you didn't think a preppy kid would go. But I love this Cypress Hill sound. And Insane in the Brain just had, I just love the beat, love the sound. It just
that whistle and
yeah. And you know what? They any song that they use the word spam in,
Mhm.
you can't go wrong with it. You can't go wrong
Right.
with fucking.
I used to
that.
know the words. Yeah.
If the music was playing in the background, I could sing the whole thing, because this is one of those, like, there's a couple of Cypress Hill songs, you know, between Insane in the Brain and Rockstar.
Yeah, the Rock Superstar. That song came out years later, but that was an awesome fucking song.
And
I thought
those
you were gonna get high, and I'm like, really?
there no. But follow them on Instagram if you want to like see somebody who's on the very tip of the spear of the fucking legalizing pot movement. It's Cypress Hill.
Forever.
Yeah.
90s. They never gave it up.
Yeah, never.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I just enjoy the sound, and I still do to this day. It's in every playlist I have, especially every workout playlist anyway. That I have.
Right.
All right,
Great
good. And that was your
That was number 4.
So all right, your number 3.
My number 3 is Aerosmith's "Living on the Edge."
Nice.
Oh.
Boom, boom. We're living on the edge.
Yeah,
It's just such a good song. This is such a good album.
It
Yeah.
really was.
Yeah, like I knew every song to this album, to the Get a Grip album.
Yeah, this was just, I don't know, like for me, this was Aerosmith retold, I guess. For my generation, because you know, the Aerosmith of the 70s or whatever,
Mhm.
that was not my Aerosmith. Like, this for me was Aerosmith.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell
and
yeah.
they had
this
a couple
album.
of songs in the 80s. You know, obviously when the fucking Run DMC song came out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
They had a mini comeback, but then this one like came out several years later, and it really pushed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and yeah, it's just great fucking song, great album, great sound. They sounded amazing.
No pun intended.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
that's not on my list, but yes, this song, it's just good. I like it.
Yeah, great song, great video, and again, the we talked about it before, like what he was talking about in his writing with all the shit going down in California at the time. So
Exactly,
it's pretty
deep.
So all right, we haven't touched on one of the top selling albums of this year, but we're about to, because Mariah Carey released another album in
Knew Mariah Carey was
1993.
going to be on your list.
I
fucking knew it.
She released the Music Box album this
fucking knew
year. The title and the top selling single from that was Dream Lover. Not my favorite song. The song that I loved from this album was Without You. Harry Nilsson song that she redid, something Nilsson. Anyway, but the song Without You from that album was my favorite from that album, and it was my number 3 song of the year. You were not going to get away from Mariah Carey in these lists. It was going to happen.
I thought maybe you would like hide that because I was here to like publicly make fun of you,
Nope.
but
Nope. I am loud, I'm proud, and I'm not going anywhere. I like Mariah Carey, and I will not apologize for it. So Without You is my number 3.
That.
We'll just sit here.
He's
I wish we had the crickets like drop, because when
Yeah,
you were
right.
describing that song, like everything that you just said, I have no visibility on this whatsoever. Like,
You'd recognize it. If you heard it, you'd recognize it.
I'm
You
sure
know
I
what I'm
would,
talking about.
because I'm sure it was on the radio at some point.
yeah.
But I'm just like,
Yeah,
You
which
didn't-
honestly, I think that single didn't come out until 94, but the album came out in 93.
94.
94. All right, but that was my number 3. Kelly, we're up to you.
My number 3 is a song we briefly hit on before. It's I Die Without You by PM Dawn.
Nice.
I mean, that song, just the beginning of it with like the couple of piano keys and then
and
going down the piano. Yeah. And the acapella start to it. It was just, it's a beautiful song. And I mean, who didn't have a teenage breakup in the 90s? You know, I mean, there's barely anyone I know who went through their teenage years without having a breakup because we were still learning. But that was the one song that I sang that song after the first guy that I dated broke up with me. And it's such a beautiful song, though. I mean, here I am, 45 years old. I still love that song and can appreciate everything about it.
Yep.
Beautiful sound.
Yeah, it so that one did not make my top 5, but it is in my honorable mentions right here. PM Dawn, I Die Without You. So
yeah,
good choice.
Beautiful song.
All right, and that was your 3, right?
That was my 3.
All right, so your 2.
My 2 is Creep by Radiohead.
Nice.
Not to be confused with Creep by Stone Temple Pilots that also came out in 1993.
Or Creep by TLC that came out the next year.
Yeah, but yeah, that was in 94. We'll do that next time.
94.
94.
But yeah.
Great song. Now, here's a question for you because I heard it on MTV and on the radio. So I only knew the "You're so very special." I didn't know that the actual lyrics were "You're so fucking special." So I don't know if you knew that back then, but it took I don't think I knew that for years.
I knew that back then because, you know, we had nothing to do. We found this stuff out. So, but love that song. The guitar riff,
when the guitar comes in, da-da, da-da.
Yeah, like everything about that song. Like you think it's gonna be a slow song until that riff comes in, and it's like, you know, like loved it. Absolutely loved it. Radiohead was a whole new sound, and you know, he was taking things to the whole next level as well as Tool and them. So yay, Radiohead.
Very good. And that was your number 2, right?
That's my number 2.
All right, my number 2. So we talked about this being the year that Sheryl Crow debuted. Now, the song that really made her big that everybody knew was the All I Want to Do song. But I listened to Sheryl Crow back when she was underground with her first single that came out from that album, Leaving Las Vegas. I fucking loved that song when I first heard it. I'm like, oh, the Sheryl Crow person is pretty cool. I love this fucking Leaving Las Vegas song. Then like 3 or 4 months later, All I Want to Do came out as a single and everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's great. And I'm like, no, I was listening to her back when the previous song was better. So Leaving Las Vegas.
How many people were listening like when you were saying that? Like, were you sitting in your high school cafeteria and you're like, no, I was listening to Sheryl Crow back when she did this other song. Was everyone
nobody gave a shit.
Was everyone looking at you go like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He didn't say it loud enough for anybody to hear. It's like, that song.
Like, with this Mariah Carey's new hit that is obviously one of the best ones.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to stick a cowboy boot straight up your ass. Shut up, nerd.
Now,
like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
And I do want to say too that whole album, that Tuesday Night Music Club, aside from All I Want to Do, it's a great fucking album. If you listen to it from start to finish, like I know every fucking song on that album. I love it. I extremely dislike the All I Want to Do because of the overplaying and everything else. But like that debut album was fucking great. Really liked it, and Leaving Las Vegas was my favorite track from that. So
man, she has a great sound. Like yeah.
All right, Dave, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Billy Joel, River of Dreams.
Nice.
Yeah. So I like Billy Joel. I had Billy Joel. I think we've talked about this on previous music episodes when, you know, it's kind of growing up and putting music onto tape to play in my Walkman. You know, I had Piano Man and Glass Houses and, you know, all this.
Had all of those too.
Yeah. I had all that music. So I like the Billy Joel sound. And at this point, you know, in my friend group, like River of Dreams just kind of hit a certain way, and it was just like, I don't know. It was more poppy than most of what Billy Joel was doing. So it like kind of
It was softening,
Yeah, it was kind of fell into a different category, but it was something
Yeah.
that was like it just was easy to kind of listen to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was something that was playing like in my friend group that was playing often.
hmm
And it just gives me just good feelings of that. So yeah, that was an easy, that was my number one up until I saw something else, and then I was like, well, that's obvious. That's just obviously my number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so speaking of which, let's move right into your number one.
So we're on my number one.
Your
Yeah.
number one.
Okay.
Do it.
Who's gonna get it right?
I'm willing to bet that nobody has my number one.
You normally have a pretty off the beaten path number one
Right.
whenever we've done these lists.
So my number one is by Pearl Jam.
Oh.
Yeah. And it is Elderly Woman Behind a Counter.
Oh.
In a store, whatever, however long that thing goes.
Yeah.
I love that fucking song.
Mhm.
I love that fucking song. Yeah. It's all right. So here's the story. We were on a trip, and we were in Turkmenistan, which is this country. It's a former Soviet country in the Soviet Union, or what was formerly the Soviet Union. And we had the hotel we were at in Turkmenistan had a bar restaurant in it. And that was in the bottom floor, and in the top floor it had another like VIP like lounge area that had karaoke.
Right.
So it was myself. I'm going to say names that Jason will recognize, but myself, Brad, Larry,
Okay.
Chuck. We were up there. We were having drinks, and shenanigans are ensuing.
Naturally.
And it's karaoke, and one of our friends, Larry, he was a singer, plays guitar, could sing, so he was doing karaoke stuff, and then we were all doing other stuff, and we were trying to get them, like, my friend Brad was trying to get them to play this song, like, for the karaoke, and they didn't have it. And ironically, if you could imagine, in Turkmenistan, they didn't have a really obscure song from a Pearl Jam album in 1993. Like, they didn't have it to play for karaoke in English, by the way. So what ended up happening was I end up going to bed, and they were still upstairs. They come down later, and Brad had the room next to mine. And he's put headphones on, and it's 3 in the morning. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. He put headphones on, and he's playing Elderly Woman. And I don't hear the song, but he's singing it as loud as he possibly can. Every fucking word of it. And I'm just laying there going, like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, it's all you could do is to fucking laugh. So the next day, like, we basically we're talking about it and fucking laughing about it, and we just basically, that turned into the theme song the rest of the fucking trip. And from that point forward, like, it just Elderly Woman, like, every time I hear it, it's just I just like it.
It takes you back.
It takes you back to that thing. It's not a 1993 thing, obviously. But that's when this song had come out. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the Pearl Jam songs. I mean, to me, whereas Nirvana's sound was very like edgy, Pearl Jam's, I think, was a little bit more dull. But like this song, because it had that fun thing associated with it,
Yeah.
Like if this plays, I'll fucking scream every word of it.
hmm
And it's
That's
so
awesome.
obscure. It's so obscure. Nobody knows this fucking song. Like
We gotta-
who the fuck requests this song?
Dude, we got to do that at ScarifCon.
Oh, dude, Ellery Woman. I would
Oh,
totally.
yeah.
I would totally. I'll sing the shit out of
ScarifCon's
this.
going to be happening. So,
I will sing the shit out of that song.
all
Mark my
right.
words.
All right.
Anyway,
gotta do
that's my all. Supergirl says all my favorite Dave stories happen in bars. Well,
I mean, that's where all the best stories start, right?
that's a lot of Dave stories happened in bars, so
Yep.
that's how it went.
All right,
that was my number one. Did anybody guess it?
No, not that one. No.
All right. Well, moving on to my number one. So we talked about this a little bit already. U2 released an album, the Zooropa album in this year, and it was headlined by a little song called Numb, which wasn't even sang by Bono. It was sang by The Edge. And it also came with a music video. I don't know if you guys remember the video. It was basically just The Edge sitting there staring at the camera, singing in this monotone voice while the rest of the band and everybody are like doing shit to him. And the whole backstory behind this is he didn't know what they were going to do during the shoot. So like everything that's being done to him, like people, like these women pressing their feet up against his face, people coming next to him, like blowing smoke in his face, wrapping his head in fucking rope and all that. He didn't know any of that stuff was going to happen. It was just like, you were just going to sit there, stare forward, sing the song and go with that. And I fucking love that music video. Love the song, even though it's a very simple song. I absolutely loved it. I love the whole just feeling numb because you're being told, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And I fucking loved it. And there may exist a VHS videotape of me and my friends making our own video to this song where I am sitting there playing the role of the Edge and they are doing all kinds of shit to me and I don't know what.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. There
We need
might
to see this.
Yeah, it does exist actually. It's in this box behind me, but
It's like a box of M&Ms, you know. There's M&Ms in that box.
oh yeah, and it was, they did all kinds of shit to me. They wrapped my head in fucking toilet paper. They shoved stuff in my mouth like I had no idea what it was. It was like one of those super sour fucking candies where I'm sitting there sucking it, trying to sing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, ugh, this look comes over my face. So
That's
dude.
fucking great. Was it in black and white too?
No, it was in color. It was just my buddy's. He had one friend of mine had a video camera that like took VHS tapes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kristen should
great.
record that on her phone and then upload it to the Patreon as a Patreon special.
Yeah. So, and Kristen mentioned in the chat too that there is absolutely a video of me doing that. It's great.
Yeah, give that to the Patreon members.
So the problem with that is, of course, it's very hard to find a working VHS player that doesn't eat the fucking tapes. So I've been very hesitant to watch any of these old tapes because I don't want them to get fucking destroyed. Because the last VHS player that I bought, I just put one of my like many Star Wars VHSs in there. It was a special edition, so don't worry. And it like immediately fucking ate it. So I'm like, fuck. So I need to get a good working VHS player that I can watch that. But yeah, so no, there is a recreation of that music video that me and my friends did where I am playing the part of the Edge and they're doing all kinds of shit to me. But yeah, U2's Numb, my number one song of that year.
And that's the best part, right? Because you have this memory associated with it. That's what makes it. That's what makes it so fucking awesome. Not because it's the best song of the year,
Right.
because you have this fucking amazing memory associated with it.
Indeed. And that brings us to Kelly.
Me.
What is your number one song of 1993?
All right. My number one song was recorded and released in 1993 on MTV, but did not come out on an album until November of 1994. I believe
94.
I believe we already talked about this album before.
I'm curious which song it is because I know which album you're talking about. So I'm curious about the song.
It is actually the last song on the album, which was a cover from Leadbelly, and it's Where Did You Sleep Last Night?
Oh yeah.
That song was just, this is a song that always gave me goosebumps, the way he sung it, the way he played it, emotion that he just poured into this song. I know Lead Belly was one of their favorites, but just doing this, his eyes are closed. That scream, that last scream, it's just, that it is one of my favorite songs of all time. The way they did this cover, and I love it. I love it when Swede plays that song and he mimics the pause, the breath, the last couple of notes. Like, you have to do it like Nirvana did it, the way Kurt Cobain did it.
And by
Great
the way,
song.
yeah, when he came on as a special guest on the show, when we did our Nirvana episode, he played that. And that was the
I remember.
the last part of that show
Mhm.
was him playing that song. So yeah, go back and take a look at it if you want on our YouTube. But yeah, great choice. And that fucking
Thank
whole
you.
album, that whole Nirvana Unplugged
The whole
was
album.
incredible. And yeah, it's one of those weird gray areas, right? Because it was recorded in '93, the show aired in '93, but the album didn't get released
Didn't
until
come out
'94.
until November. Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm gonna allow it. And
Yes.
yeah, fantastic,
you.
fantastic choice.
We
Thank
make the
you.
rules.
Can you even believe that they did that in one take?
That's crazy. Crazy to think that they did that.
One take, as he's going through heroin withdrawal because he was trying to quit.
Yeah, and because when bands make live albums and things like that, they don't just do it all in one take. They do it over like the course of multiple shows, like even like
Yeah.
comedy albums, like when Dennis Leary did No Cure for Cancer, that was recorded over like 2 or 3 sessions with
Right.
like different audiences, and they just like pick and choose the best parts and string it together into the album.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
to think that they did that whole thing in one sitting is fucking awesome.
One
And-
take.
and this was Nirvana at their absolute best, and
And it was
a
the
shame.
final song. It was the final song of the night. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. To anybody who's younger than me and don't know what I'm talking about, please, I urge you to go and find this song.
Yeah.
It's not just because it's Nirvana. It's such a great, powerful song.
Yep. Agreed. So that being said, do we want to talk honorable mentions before we get into the listener guesses?
No, I want to hear the listener guesses.
All
then we
right,
can-
let's do the guesses,
All right.
and then we'll do our honorable mentions, and then we'll close it
Who
up.
wants to go first, Dave or Jason?
Let's do Dave first.
Okay. Dave, actually, 2 people thought your favorite song was going to be Soul to Squeeze by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
Oh, I guess that the single for that came out that year, because wasn't that on Blood Sugar Sex Magic?
No, that was on the album before that.
Well, Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out in '91, but I know they were still releasing singles for that for years. So
And it was the one after that. You hit me at a brain fog
yeah,
moment.
no, either way,
Yeah.
they were not correct.
All right. They were not correct. Another person thought you would love I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by UB40.
That may or may not be an honorable mention for me.
Dave's laughing at it.
I mean,
Another person came really freaking close and said Prison Sex by Tool.
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Another one thought All Apologies by Nirvana could have been your favorite. And I actually picked Sober by Tool as your favorite because I picked 2. I like having fun. I don't give myself the swag packs, but
So, who was the person that picked the Prison Sex?
Dawn
'Cause-
from the Escape Pod.
Okay, great, because
There you go.
that's probably the closest I'd say.
Mhm.
So excellent.
Yeah. I mean,
Excellent.
honestly, with me, like, I think I've talked about Tool and talked about the Tool show. You couldn't go wrong with that. And I know that I probably haven't mentioned even Pearl Jam, like, even once, but so it would have been really, really hard.
Yeah.
And when we get to our honorable mentions, there's some other like really weird ones that could have jumped. Honestly, there's a couple that could have very easily jumpped all of them and been my number ones just
Yeah.
because of memories and other
Yeah. Yeah.
things.
So Jason,
Mhm.
Jason, Okay, well, we'll start with a cool one. Somebody thought Mary Jane's Last Dance would have been your favorite.
Okay.
So they were pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. Because I bought that album and I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't make my top 5.
Correct. Another person thought I Will Always Love You would have been your number 1 by Whitney Houston.
It was too overplayed. Like, if it wasn't so goddamn overplayed, it might have
Boom.
made my list. Yeah, but it was too much. It was too much. To the point by like February of that year, I was sick of it.
2 people simultaneously thought that your number 1 would be Dream Lover by Mariah Carey.
Yeah, not my favorite song from that album, but
Mhm.
one of her songs did make the top 5.
Yes. And then I guess that it would be Living on the Edge by Aerosmith.
Okay.
You just seemed like an Aerosmith guy.
Oh yeah, no, I fucking love that whole album, and of all the songs from that album,
Edge.
"Living on the Edge" is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And listen,
Yeah.
just think of the album cover of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cow.
A freaking
The-
cow
the-
with a ring
cow-
through his udder.
Cow teats.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. I hate cows. Sorry, I'm not a cow person.
Okay.
Cows get
Uh,
stupid.
Honorable mentions. Who wants to go first?
You can go first.
You can go first.
All
yeah.
right. Well, I've got a long list. So, Ace of Base, "The Sign." Love that song. I
Yeah.
don't care who knows it.
Sign.
Another song that I don't care who knows it. Celine Dion's "The Power of Love." I love that song, and anybody who doesn't can go do something to themselves. 10,000
Well, we don't
Maniacs
want to.
also did a MTV Unplugged, and they had a cover of "Because the Night," which was a pretty good song.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
okay.
but they played that a lot though.
It was overplayed. It was
They
overplayed.
played it way too fucking much.
Yeah. We talked about Meatloaf's "I Would Do Anything for Love," Aerosmith's "Living on the Edge," Radiohead's "Creep." So Duran Duran. We talked about
Yes.
Duran Duran earlier.
Yeah.
It wasn't the one song that you did for this or that, but I
done.
love "Ordinary World."
Ordinary World.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
that made my list too.
Was so close to making my top 5. Now, the
Yeah.
interesting thing about that is there's 2 versions of this song. There's the album version, which is like really long, and then there's the radio version, which is a bit shorter, and it's got a lot of like in between stuff cut out. I actually like the shorter radio version than
Oh,
the
really?
longer album version. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the radio version. It's funny because sometimes the radio version,
It
the
flows
stuff,
better.
yeah, the stuff that they
Yeah.
cut out, sometimes longer isn't necessarily better. You know,
Yeah.
let's
Ladies.
Oh,
But yeah, no, loved Ordinary World, and that almost made my top 5 list. So you may remember the Beavis and Butthead Experience album came out in '93. That's the one that had the Cher song where she did the duet with Beavis and Butthead.
Mhm.
The song, "I Got You, Babe."
yes.
But there was another song on there. Aerosmith did a song on there called "Deuces Are Wild." Love that song. Absolutely love that song. Nirvana had a song on that track on that album, by the way, which, if you remember, the name of that song was "I Hate Myself and Want to Die."
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that.
So there's that.
I mentioned that I was into country music at the time. Faith Hill made her debut this year with a remake of the Janis Joplin song "Piece of My Heart." Fucking love that song.
Mm. There,
we had
Faith,
somebody request that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Faith Hill was mentioned in the chat earlier too. With I forget which song,
Yeah.
but yeah, Faith Hill was mentioned.
But I love that song.
I think in jest, to be honest, but
Well,
Still
I'm being
mentioned.
serious. So,
I know
Uh,
somebody who likes Faith Hill.
yeah. "Achy Breaky Song" by Weird Al. We talked about that a little bit. UB40's "I Can't Help Falling in Love."
It
with
was
you.
a pretty song.
Yep. Onyx's "Slam." I saw this was mentioned in the chat earlier. Green Jello's "Three Little Pigs," if you guys
Yay!
remember that.
Yeah.
Well,
That album.
I say Green Jello because that's how I knew them. In fact, I think one
and
of my
not
friends,
green jelly.
yeah, one of my friends actually had the album that was Green Jello, not Green Jelly,
I
before they
had
lost
the
the
album.
lawsuit.
Before
That was
Jello
Jell-O.
fucking threw a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my last honorable mention, PM Dawn's "I Die Without You."
That was a great song.
It
It was a great
was.
song.
So yeah, I had a long list. This was tough. Like when I first made my first draft, I'm like, fuck, I've got 20 songs. And I had to narrow them down to a top 5. So, but that was everything that I came up with as I was crafting my top 5 list.
So I want to just mention the songs that Kathy had brought up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
Stop fucking with your mic. So, ack, 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 ack. So that's The Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson was
Mhm.
one. Meatloaf, I Will Do Anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Every Woman, which we already had
Oh
mentioned.
yeah, because like she actually had other songs that year, not just "I Will Always Love You." Believe it or not.
I'm every woman. Shoop by Salt and Pepper.
Was that in '93?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was.
yeah.
Shoop.
Yeah, it
If
was.
you-
Yeah, it
If
was.
you ask Alexa to play songs of '93, it's one of the ones that comes up.
Okay, fair enough.
And here's one that we probably could have mentioned earlier if I had been paying attention, and which is actually sort of timely. A little DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince song
Yep.
called "Boom Shake 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 the Room." Boom
Oh,
Shake 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 the
right.
room.
God, I forgot about
Boom
that
Shake
song.
Shake Shake the
Savage
room.
Touch
Tick
song.
tick 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 boom. Right.
Yeah,
This is one of
yeah.
the last
I was gonna
albums
say.
that he did as the Fresh Prince
Yeah.
with
'Cause
DJ
then it was-
Jazzy Jeff.
It was Will Smith after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big Willie style.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
So he was boom boom shaking the room with fucking old boy Chris Rock the other night. But
Yep.
no, but so my other honorable mentions, Duran Duran's Ordinary World. I just weird like Duran.
love Duran. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to say that. I'm a
I loved him in
grunter,
the '80s too.
rocker chick.
Yeah.
I love Duran. Yeah.
Candlebox, Far Behind. I know we mentioned Candlebox earlier.
For you.
Nirvana, Heart Shaped Box. I mean, I pretty much everything on that album would
Yeah.
make that. And Ace of Base had All That She Wants.
Is another baby. She's gone tomorrow.
All that she wants. Like there were so many of these. We talked about it in '92 as well, where you had these like kind of quasi like techno,
Yeah, right?
like EDM type things that were starting to happen with some of the mashups.
I think a lot of them they called it like Euro dance or Euro pop.
Yeah.
Something like
it
that.
might have been,
Yeah.
but there was definitely stuff that was starting to make out with the workout playlists
Mhm.
that would sneak some stuff like that into it.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was it for my honorable mentions.
Sweet. All right, Kelly, you're up. What you got?
I have one right off the bat. I can't believe that I forgot about it. I left it off my list, but it needs to be on my list. Is "Loser" by Beck.
That was this year?
Yeah, that was 93.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, "Loser" by Beck. I'm pretty sure it's 93. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I didn't see it in any list.
I'm
As
going
I
to
was.
kick my own ass, but I'm pretty sure "Loser" by Beck came out in 93.
Yeah, it was somewhere in this time frame for sure.
It was such a fun song to sing. It was totally different.
Oh, very different.
Our parents hated it.
Mhm.
It was the funnest song in the whole world. Get crazy with the cheese whiz, like bounce it up and down. So cool. I still know all the words to it.
It was released in March 8th, 1993.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. I still have it.
Loser, baby. So why don't you kill me?
Get crazy with the cheese whiz.
Mhm.
I also have, where are they? "Sober" by Tool. We talked about Tool.
Right.
"Sober" definitely made my list. A song that came out also in protest of the Rodney King beatings, "Killing in the Name" by Rage Against the Machine.
Okay. Because I know we talked about them when we did the music of '92. I guess that single was released in '93, probably.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It made the charts in 93. So.
Yeah. So that
I
counts.
joinked it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, very powerful song. So fun to sing. I no longer sing it at the top of my lungs like I used to 30 years ago, but still, if the kids aren't around, not that it matters. I mean, my kids are like almost 24 and the other one's 18, so who cares? But yeah, So such a good song, so fun to sing, political statement. It was the thing back then.
Awesome.
And then my last honorable mention was Change by Blind Melon. Beautiful song about how your life could totally suck, but it's up to you to turn it around, and that's okay. Change is okay. And it was a song that I really needed at that time in my life. And to this day, I still love it. It's one of those songs that you have to listen to the words of the song and think about the meaning behind it. It's perfect. If you're in that bad headspace, listen to that song.
Okay, we've got a pretty furious debate about the whole Becca loser song in the chat.
Right.
Well, because I guess it was initially released in '93, but then re-released, and I guess the re-release in '94 with the album was when it actually became popular. But you're still right. But yeah,
You hear that, Christopher? I'm still right.
So that all being said, that's pretty much the end of our Music in '93 discussion.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was good. Next week we're talking about Dune, the new Dune movie,
Right.
as voted on by our patrons.
Mhm.
And Kelly, you got anything else Red 5 to talk before we
Of
get
course
out
I
of here? All right, well, what you got?
Absolutely. We got some Red 5. We got some Cantina family happenings. We'll start with Red 5 because that's usually how Dave does it, right, Dave?
However you put it in the teleprompter, that's how I read it.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you moved the stuff around. So
I haven't yet, no.
for Red 5 news, I just want to reiterate Scarif Con is going to be July 23rd, just outside of Chicago at the Murray Brothers Caddy Shack. Now, yes, Caddyshack, yes, owned by Bill Murray, who does go there sometimes. I don't know if he's going there this time, but you
Oh my
never
God,
know.
that would be
He might
incredible.
show up. Wouldn't that be
Right?
freaking awesome?
Oh my
Any
God.
of the Murray brothers showing up would be fucking incredible.
Hell yeah. So that is July 23rd. We have at least 16 of the Red 5 podcasters. The Red 5 podcasters from 16 of the Red 5 pods, that's how I'll put it, are going to be going, including us. So we will be there. Actor Dominic Pace will be there from Star Wars The Mandalorian. Close friend of Red 5. Dave met him in person. Wonderful guy. Like, stand-up human being. It's going to be great. They're going to try to get some local artists there. They're also doing nonprofit things so that none of Red 5 is making a profit. That's all going towards a food bank in Chicago.
Charities. Ugh.
Jason.
Sorry. I gotta put my inside voice on.
You mean your mute button?
Mhm.
I also wanted to say that actually it's been going on now for 51 minutes. 97 Bravo, the Convergence podcast live with special guest Michelle with 2 L's from Force of Light Entertainment. That started at 7. It's probably still running at 8 o'clock in about 9 minutes. After the Weekend is having their Monday night trivia. Hosts R2 the Icky and the Geeky Crochet are going to have contestants Shanti, Chantal from Press Play Streaming Studios and the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, Danny from Comics and Cosmetics, Nicole from Rogue One Radio, and JT, who he's part of the whole After the Weekend family. He does a lot of stuff for them with graphics and stuff for them on Discord. So it's going to be a really great episode to watch. When we're all done here, go hop over and say hi to them. All my chickies are over there. So go say hi to them. At 10 o'clock tonight, WSTR Media is starting their April segment called The Road to Obi-Wan. And every Monday this month, they're going to be talking about something that has to do with the Kenobi series that's coming out. Tonight, they're going to focus on the Grand Inquisitor, and there will be no late night S&P with the Salty Nerd podcast. Alex is taking the night off.
Get some rest. Jesus, can't do it
Oh.
fucking at midnight all the time.
Well, it's
God,
not
no kidding.
midnight for him. It's only 9 o'clock for him. So,
Still, I'm in
Well-
bed by 9 o'clock.
well, I'm usually, I still have the, I'm an insomniac. 9 o'clock is just like, meh.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So to find these guys on YouTube and more about any other of the 37 podcasts,
I'm 37?
yeah, go to bio.link/red5. It's bio.link/red5, and you will find all of us there. Now, in Cantina Family Happenings, Scott and Kim over at the Used and Abused is going to be covering The Lion King with their daughter Hannah tomorrow night. You can find them at 7 p.m. Eastern over at Used and Abused Pod. Yes,
I have a
Jason?
question.
Sure.
Which Lion King? Because
The
apparently there's
cartoon.
2 now.
The Disney cartoon.
Okay, the good one.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Does it have an anniversary this year, or is
I
it
don't
just
know.
because
I-
it's
I thought it came out in 94.
94?
Yes.
It was 94, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
Um,
So you can find them on YouTube tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesday. Now, this is going to be something. Thank you, Scott. I thought it was.
it was the animated one. Fun fact: I have seen the Broadway show of The Lion King.
I've always wanted to. Really?
Not a fan?
It's.
Really?
I mean, if you're looking for something,
really? I never
If
would have
you're-
thought that.
if you're looking for, how do you say?
Animal hats on the top of people's heads.
Yeah, a lot of animal hats. If you're looking for really, really creative ways to like make people really try to look like they're making paper animals,
Mhm.
this is 3 hours for you.
Oh. Well.
Hey, look.
Broadway. I'd see anything on Broadway. It could totally suck, and I would go to Broadway.
Here's
so.
the problem. Like with any, Kathy and I used to have a subscription where we would go see shows in Philly, right?
Right.
So, we're highfalutin like that,
Mhm.
and plus it was fairly cheap. A cheap way to see shows anyway. But when we went up there, if you for the art of it, I get it, right? If you're going to see okay, here's this piece of art, and this is how they were presenting it, and here's the music with the orchestra and everything else, awesome. However, people had their fucking kids there. So you had all these little fucking monsters that were making noise and trying to people brought their kids to a fucking Broadway show. They spent hundreds of dollars. What did you think they were going to see? They're bored out of their fucking mind because it's not really Pumbaa. It's
3 hours long.
it's a guy holding a stick with a paper mache fucking thing on it. No, it was the kids. The kids ruined it. All those little fucking bastards.
Kids ruin everything.
Yeah.
Sad.
Anyway.
Sad face.
Anyway, that's that.
Hmm.
The
So have a
animated
good
one,
show,
though,
Used and Abused.
yeah, the animated one is fucking great though. I love it.
Maybe Dave can guest host on that one.
I looked at all those think about all the good Disney movies that came out in that year group, right? From Beauty and the Beast, Little
Yeah.
Mermaid, Aladdin.
Mhm.
I can't make my fingers do that number, but
Stupid fibro.
Lion King, all of those were really, really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Hannah, I agree with you. I agree
Hannah?
with Hannah. The new the live action. Talking about the live action, not the Broadway one, but the live action I
Oh,
think.
Milan.
Which who needs that in their lives? Honestly,
Yeah.
who needs that in their
Yeah.
lives?
Definitely.
All right, we spent 10 minutes on this. Let's
All
move
right.
on.
On Wednesday, what is that, Dave?
I've been playing with my pocket knife this entire time.
I know. I hear it clicking.
Yeah, which is apparently driving Kristen nuts. Because everyone can hear it. I had no idea.
So Wednesday night is going to be super huge, you guys. Okay. Everybody needs to watch HASW The Escape Pod at 7 p.m. Eastern, because for the first time ever, Dawn and Brady and DB are giving me the keys to the pod. They're giving me the keys to the pod, and all of my Red 5 chick friends and family are coming on.
God help us all.
It is ladies' night. It's going to be Shanti from Press Play Streaming Studios and Scarab Scuttlebutt. It's going to be Amanda from Galaxy of Queers. We're going to have Miss Nicole from Rogue One Radio. We are going to have Danny, our brand new sister from Comics and Cosmetics. Tina, who I did see in the chat, but she might have hopped out to go see our girls over on after the weekend, which is starting now. And we're going to have Miss Belzora Hollow. So it's going to be a great time. We're going to talk Nerd Girl stuff. It's going to be great. We're going to have wine. We're going to try not to talk over top of each other, but you know what? We're having wine and we're going to have a good time. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Got the keys.
Make the sacrifice.
The Orange it's okay. The Orange and Fett show released two pods this week. They released episode 23, which was a potpourri on Spotify, and they also released episode 24,
It's not
which
me.
was on Morbius. Oh crap, it's me. Harry Potter. It's time for my puppy's medicine. DB, it's time for Chewy's medicine. I'll be there in a few minutes. So yeah, catch the Orange and Fett show on Spotify and catch up on all their past episodes. Sweet. Yes. Sweet is playing with the studio. He's buying new toys. He's putting his toys in there. Then he plays with his toys, and then he jams, and then he jams out a little bit because you know he's got things going on. He's trying to make new stuff, and then he gets more toys and says, "Oh no, I didn't think this over really well," and you know his toys aren't fitting. So Sweet's doing a whole lot of sweet stuff.
Sorry.
He's big sweet. He's not little sweet.
Mm.
I will say that I've been privy to a preview video of a tribute that Sweet is working on for Taylor.
Stuff and things.
Yeah, for the Foo Fighters drummer who passed recently. So
Mhm.
more to follow on that.
I didn't say it. Dave said it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I kept it a secret.
hey, we're here to drive listeners and viewership to
Yes.
the channel. So
That
Sweet
is
Studios.
Mm-hmm. See, he's posting pictures of all of his renovations over on Sweet Studios on the Instagram. Catch him on his Discord. If you don't know how to get to his Discord, just ask me. DM me on any one of the Sidebar Cantina DMs. I follow them all.
Make the sacrifice.
You could also catch his past stuff from the quarantine sessions on YouTube.
Make the sacrifice.
Guys, we have a super big announcement this week.
What?
Super huge, big, awesome, like mind-blowing announcement.
Nobody told me.
Yeah, me either.
I have no idea what's going on.
The champ is back. Mr. Layman
Oh.
himself, Keith, is back. He's
The
back
champ
doing
is here.
layman's terms.
The champ is here.
Yes. We're going to get some more Layman's videos real soon. He's got his podcast back. He's just finalizing some stuff. But yes, Keith, I've missed you. I've missed you so much. So I can't wait to see new stuff that he's going to work on. And it's just simple shit. It's people our age, just he's drinking a beer and talking about stuff he wants to talk about. You know, it's exact stuff that we do.
He has some of the greatest rants out there that you'll ever listen
Love
to.
it.
So
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
big shit talker too when it comes to fantasy football.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but he was a champ for like years and years and years.
Champs here.
Yeah. And then he beat out another champ or something like that. So my mind's a little fuzzy. Jason, do you remember that?
I'm not speaking to either of you right now, so you might as well just finish.
And then if you like to watch people play video games on YouTube and Twitch, come see me on Thursday night. 97 Bravo, 90 NINETY, the number 7, and then Bravo, you know how to spell Bravo. On YouTube, on Twitch, I'll be playing Star Wars The Old Republic and probably like getting squished by elevators or jumping off cliffs to see what happens. You know, it's great. It's
As
fun.
you do.
I like you do. Listen, Jason, I literally had to have Jason log in with me to show me how to use my credits because I had all these fucking credits. I had no idea, like, how do you appropriate these things? And like, I have armor? Like, what?
Mhm.
Like, I legitimately had no idea what the fuck I was doing in there.
This is where Bravo and Amanda, I play with my chicks too. It's Bravo, Amanda from Galaxy of Queers. They are super, super high levels. They've been playing for years now. They teach me and Chantal how to play. We're total noobs. I've never even played a PC game before this game. So I've always been the Xboxer or PlayStation, Nintendo. So this is brand new for me. But we all have a lot of fun. You can find us, including me, if you want to talk to me, at biolink.com, at bio.link/the Sidebar Cantina. You can find all of our links to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, our Spotify, Apple, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I don't do dances on TikTok, but I'll post a video if it's funny. Did Lunar say we're going live? Oh, I did say 7. I take it back. Used and Abused is going on at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is going to be a chime change this week on Thursday. I'm so sorry. Scott and Kim decided to change their time so that they don't overlap with Rogue One Radio. So sorry about that, Scott. I knew that. Thanks for correcting me on that one. Also on our bio link, if you feel like dropping us an email, drop it. All of our past Spotify mixtapes that we've been making over the years, including the new one that honestly I think will drop tomorrow morning. I don't think I'm going to make it tonight because I have to rewatch this video and do all that stuff.
Yeah, no worries. You can get out whenever you need to.
Thanks. But yeah, you can find that on our bio link and our merch shop, TeePublic. We've got t-shirts. We've got long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, baby onesies, stickers, cell phone cases, just about everything that you can want. Tote bags, face masks, and I have a couple ideas for some new prints, Dave, so we got to get together on that.
Okay.
Speaking of
Yeah.
which, did Don from the Escape Pod buy his shirt yet?
I don't know. I should really log into that, to see, because people have probably bought stuff, and I haven't looked at it in a hot minute.
Okey-doke.
But I'm sporting one of the shirts right now. Right meow. So
Right now.
All right, very good.
Mhm.
All right, is that it?
That's what I got for you guys. Yeah.
All right. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of
Thank you so
fun.
much for having me. It's such an honor.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to do this again soon. And I thought it was a great show. And again, stay tuned for Dune, the new Dune, next week. Is it called anything, or is it just Dune?
It's just
Dune.
Okay, so it's not like
part 1.
Okay.
They don't call it part 1, but it's part 1.
Okay, fair enough.
There it is.
I'm pretty sure it's streaming somewhere. In case anybody wants to watch it.
HBO.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like on HBO Max. All right, cool.
Yeah, I
So-
think it's HBO Max. Yeah.
All right, so watch it on HBO Max if you want to follow along with the show next week. And until then, that's going to be it. So thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Dave. Thank you all to the viewers and listeners. And we will see you all next time. Cheers.
Shh. What? It's the
Cheers.
worst
Wait,
ending
wait,
ever,
wait.
Jason.
You're the worst
Yeah.
host ever.
Go
Weirdo.
fuck yourself. You're supposed to say go fuck yourself.
Yeah, really. What the fuck, dude?
yourself.
Man,
God
can't please
damn it.
anybody around here.
Oh.
All right, we are out. See everybody next week.
Bye, friends.
Until next time, Dave.
Okay, now what do I click?
All right, recording's off. We're still
Yay.
live though.
Yay, we did it.
All right,
did
well then,
it.
guys. Yes, very good.
Yay.
Excellent. All right, I can.
And-
This is still charging. I'll leave that.
So
alone.
Dave, I just saw your text.
Yeah,
So wait, we're doing BioLink and not
Linktree.
Linktree. Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, because I
just-
just happened to look at the YouTube last week and I saw that you had the Linktree.
Okay, because I think I've just been copying and pasting the same thing into.
I didn't end the link tree. I
Well,
mean,
you're not
it's on our
updating it,
business
though, right?
cards. I probably should because it's on our business cards.
Okay. Well, I've got
But
the red
I'm
fives.
advertising the BioLink.
Yeah, I've got the red fives BioLink in here, but it's our
Yeah.
link tree that I've been pasting stuff. Kelly, can you just send me a link to that,
Oh yeah,
Or
definitely.
even like throw it in the show chat?
It's bio.link slash
https://
Just so I have it.
bio.link slash the sidebar cantina. It's not
Okay, put king.
difficult.
Yeah, but I've got like this super huge burn blister on my finger that doesn't come up, does it? Can you see it?
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
can see it.
fuck.
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell did you do?
One of my daughter's candles melted all the wax and it was still burning on nothings. And the tin that it was in started melting the runner it was on. And I went to pick it up to throw it in the sink and went, ow. So I ran and got the oven mitt, put the lid on it and threw it outside. So,
Mm.
People don't
Yeah.
realize how dangerous candles are. I mean,
yeah, right.
Because you can burn them
I
down.
never leave a room. Seriously.
Like seriously, those they burn down to a certain point, like that glass can explode.
Really?
Like because it'll
Yeah.
it'll like get down and it'll heat the glass to the point where it'll just
Yeah.
release. It'll
Mhm.
release all that heat energy.
I've seen that happen.
Yep.
Okay, you just posted the red five.
Oh, I
BioLink.
thought you wanted the red 5.
No, I have that. I need
Sorry.
ours. Apparently, we
Okay.
have because I've been doing our link tree in the show descriptions.
You got it.
But like she said, the link tree will work because it's on our business cards.
Yeah, but I just want to
It's
do
a-
whatever is being updated the most, I guess, or whatever's the most
Candles and
accurate.
sweet candles and drones. Fuck it up, fingers.
I didn't know it was a candle. I thought the drone went in the plants.
Dude, Swede, what the fuck are the Eagles doing?
What did they do?
They traded their number 16 pick and number 19 pick in the first round and their 194th pick. They
Oh,
got
Yeah,
they got
just-
5 picks out of it, but they traded basically 2 first round picks for 1 first round pick.
and then hopefully a
And then
shitload
they got a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick, and then a first round in 2023 and a
Huh.
2nd round in 2024. So maybe that 2023 first round pick is posturing for a quarterback when the Jalen Hurts experiment finally fucking blows up in their goddamn face.
Yeah. Well, and the beauty of trading for a first rounder for subsequent years is you never fucking know. That team could end up just like flopping and being the worst team in the league, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got the number 1 pick in the draft. It's happened before.
Well, it's a first round pick, so that doesn't. I mean,
No, but what I'm saying is, like, let's say it was New Orleans, right, that they traded
Mhm.
with. So let's say, they've got New Orleans first round draft pick for next year. Let's say New Orleans fucking tanks this year and they're the worst team in the league and they get, they're seeded as the number 1 draft pick. Well, now the Eagles have the number 1 fucking pick in the draft. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like every once in a while, you'll see that. You'll see a team trade away their number 1 pick. They'll be the worst team in the league, and that team they traded to which could be a decent team, now also has the top pick.
Yeah, if you remember correctly, the Eagles tried to throw their last game of the season to get a better draft pick. And
Don't even get me
now,
started. Oh my god.
dude, it doesn't make any sense. Dave, your team doesn't make any sense.
No, I predicted, and I'm sure I did it on the show.
Mhm.
The
the night.
Eagles will fuck this up.
Mhm.
They have all these first
You
round
did, you
picks.
said
They'll
that.
fuck it up, and
Yeah.
it's beginning. So
Yeah.
I don't mind them trading away some stuff, some of these, but trading away 2 first round draft picks to
Mhm.
gain basically effectively 1 first round in 2023, and I don't think that's worth it.
Doesn't make any sense.
Do you
I
want
don't
Jimmy
think-
Garoppolo? We'll give him to you for a song.
Jimmy Garoppolo got you all the way up to the top there, Jason.
No, the team got them all the way to the top. Jimmy Garoppolo was the reason they didn't continue on further. I don't even want to hear that shit. Fuck
gonna-
Jimmy Garoppolo.
You're gonna get Colin Kaepernick back.
That drama queen.
Like the fact that he
Listen,
even thinks he's
you're
gonna get a
fucking-
spot.
Your boys at Michigan, right? This
Mhm.
this shit. Welcome to the OT, by the way.
Jason doesn't
Yeah, apparently.
follow Michigan football. He just likes.
Of course I do. What are you
Michigan.
talking about? I've got my Michigan hat right here.
Right.
Hold on.
Right.
Can you tell me who was the quarterback last year?
The one guy.
Right.
He throws a lot of passes.
Or not,
the-
or doesn't.
No, the one
It's
guy.
okay, Jason.
It's okay.
His
No.
name's right on the tip of my tongue.
So fucking Harbaugh brings Colin Kaepernick in for the Blue and Maize game,
Mhm.
right? As
Maize,
as
you
like
call it corn.
as a special, like, oh, here's a special captain for the Blue and Maize game.
Mhm.
And it has like Kaepernick there as Kaepernick went to Fresno State, for fuck's sake. So he has no affiliation with Michigan whatsoever.
No, but he played for Harbaugh when he was on the Niners.
So you think that this was a good move on Harbaugh's part to bring Kaepernick into the locker room?
I
and be
think it
like,
was an
"Hey,
irrelevant move. Like, I don't see what benefit it would have brought. I really don't care either way.
I think it was a huge political move on his part.
Mhm.
And I think that if you're trying to make Kaepernick relevant again, like
Mhm.
it's brought the conversation back to Kaepernick, which whatever. I hate the fact that somebody put on a big board that the Eagles are one of those fucking targets.
Oh
And-
no!
For Kaepernick?
oh, I'm sorry. He played at Nevada, not Fresno. Whatever. It not a Power 5 school. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I think Swede would quit the Eagles if Kaepernick went over there.
I just don't like. It's not an upgrade from. That's not an upgrade from Hurts. I don't think. Not
No.
after being out of football for this long.
Yeah, it's
Not
like
only is it
7 years
not an
now or some
upgrade,
shit.
but he's a freaking drama queen, Like, he's a liability.
Take Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, he's
fuck.
he's
I'd
not
take
bad.
Mayfield.
He
He's
got
gonna be
the
looking
shit
for a
end of the
team.
deal getting let go.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He's
Um,
gonna go places in a couple years.
Yep. I think we need to start cutting this short because it's 8:15 and I go to bed in half an hour. So
I have a
Yes.
lot of songs to add.
yeah. So we've all
Yes.
got things we got to get going. But
Right.
thanks again, guys. Thanks everybody who's stuck around for this short
Yeah.
after show.
Thanks, friends. Love you guys.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
saw a lot
Kelly.
of names in the chat. So
There was up to 18 people in the chat.
We had 20
Holy
at one point.
shit!
Oh, did
Holy
we?
shit!
Yep, I saw 20 at one point. So
That
We
is
had-
awesome.
Kelly's
got the
bringing in
Lu-
all the viewers.
That's right. We got the Lunar Girl bump this week.
All right. Well, thanks again, Kelly, and we'll be in touch. I'm
Thanks
sure
for
you'll
having me,
hear from us
guys.
tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
Definitely.
and everybody else, we'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Good night.